DJ Super Blaze.
We the best music.
Another one.
All hail to the Queen, Mary J. Blige.
It's so hard to fake when everything I do is real. Money in a doggy bag, I ain't missing no meals. Don't move on me wrong, I need to save my energy. Everybody, family, leave it to the industry. Heard a lot of that noise, we ain't talking that way. We ain't moving like that, no way, no way. Heard a lot of that noise, only positive vibes. I don't pay it no mind, I don't pay it no mind. Every day like my birthday, bring the cake in. Bring the cake in, bring the cake in. I feel good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing. Man, I feel amazing, man, I feel amazing. Every day celebrate, not just on occasion. On occasion, not just on occasion. I feel good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing. Feel amazing, man, I feel amazing. My crib is so big, I tell the guests to use a Mac. He wanna play house, I ask him where's the fun in that.
Let's go.
Seeing all these blessings, man, I think I pray too much. Lately I've been feeling like I turn up way too much. Where the drink, for the drink, sun got us all day. Raise glasses up, party, party. Dance really go down, make your way to the crowd. Right now, right now, right now, right now. I feel too wavy, you can save me. I meditate on a daily to keep sane. I mean, I'm going on my mind, I'm going crazy. I think it might be my season, I'm elevated. Every day like my birthday, bring the cake in. Bring the cake in, bring the cake in. I feel good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing. Man, I feel amazing, man, I feel amazing. Every day.
We the best music.
Another one.
All hail to the Queen, Mary J. Blige.
It's so big when everything I do is real. Money and a doggy.
Peace.
No bills. Don't move.
Welcome. What up?
Energy. Everybody's family, leave it to the industry.
You know what this is, man. This is the Time Was Body Podcast and Mix Show.
We ain't moving like that. No way, no.
I'm your boy Super Blaze.
Heard a lot of that noise.
Inside the campaign mix.
I don't pay it no mind.
You know we're a little late
I don't pay
sometimes.
it no mind. Every day like my birthday, bring the cake in.
That's a maroon life, you know.
Bring the cake in. I feel good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing. Man, I feel
Shout to
amazing. Man, I feel
Back4WhatsMine. What up, bro?
Every day celebrate, not just on
Free Cream Money. What up?
on occasion.
9 Ether. What up?
Occasion.
You see me.
Good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing.
Haha.
Feel amazing, man, I feel amazing.
You know what it is, man. Shout out to my maroon family, man. You know what it is. My mom, my dad,
Another one.
both sides, my grandparents, both my grandparents.
J. Blige.
Maroon life, baby. Come on.
It's so hard to fake when everything I do is real. Money and a dog.
It's in my DNA, man.
No bills.
Come on.
Don't move on me wrong, I need to save my energy. Everybody's family, leave it to the industry. Heard a lot of that noise, we ain't talking that way. We ain't moving like that, no way, no way.
We just vibing for a little bit.
Only positive vibes.
We're gonna cross over in a few. You know what it is, man. Come
I
on.
don't pay it no mind. Every day like my birthday, bring the cake in. Bring the cake in, bring the cake in. I feel good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing. Man, I feel amazing.
Shout out to all my American Maroons out there. You know what it is.
Every day celebrate, not just on occasion.
Whether you're Caribbean Maroon
Not just on occasion.
or you're a mainland Maroon,
Great, man, I feel amazing.
still a Maroon.
Feel amazing.
Come on, man.
My crib is so big, I tell the guests to use a Mac. He wanna play house, I ask him where's the fun in that.
Let's go.
Seeing all these blessings, man, I think I pray too much. Lately I've been feeling like I turn up way too much. Where the
We the best music.
I feel amazing.
Another one.
You know what it is, man. Super Blaze inside the campaign mix each and every Sunday night, 8 to 9
so
o'clock.
hard to fake when everything I do is real. Money in a doggy bag, I ain't missing no meals. Don't move on me wrong, I need to save my energy. Everybody's family, leave it to the industry. Heard a lot of that noise, we ain't talking that way. We ain't moving like that, no way, no way. Heard a lot of that noise, only positive vibes. I don't pay it no mind, I don't pay it no mind. Every day like my birthday, bring the cake in. Bring the cake in, bring the cake in. I feel good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing. Man, I feel amazing, man, I feel amazing. Every day celebrate, not just on occasion. On occasion, not just on occasion. I feel good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing. Feel amazing, man, I feel amazing. My crib is so big, I tell the guests to use a map. He wanna play house, I ask him where's the fun in that.
Let's go.
Seeing all these blessings, man, I think I pray too much. Lately I've been feeling like I turn up way too much. Where the drink, for the drink. Sun got us all day. Raise the glasses up. Party, party. Man's really going down. Make your way to the crowd. Right now, right now. Right now, right now. I feel too wavy. You can save me. I meditate on a daily to keep sane. I mean, I'm going on my mind. I'm going crazy. I think it might be my season. I'm elevated. Hey. Every day like my birthday. Bring the cake in. Bring the cake in, bring the cake in. I feel good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing. Man, I feel amazing, man, I feel amazing. Every day celebrate, not just on occasion. On occasion, not just on occasion. I feel good, I feel great, man, I feel amazing. Feel amazing, man, I feel amazing.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze, let's go.
DJ Super Blaze is in the mix.
Downtown Atlanta, underground sound. Hey, baby, what's happening? I might buy time, this shit by hand. Quick pick a classic, Rolls Royce a carry. Dig in your pussy and fill up your soul. Blood, sweat, and tears, coughed up the toe. Back with 400 with just the state road. Only for the rich ones, only with the poor ones inside of their house when they cleaning the kitchens or they babysitting. Well, I've been living this way since my mom lost her daddy. Before Hartford was Jackson. 4-3 stacks had the accent. I ain't digging or dissing. Just cementing the facts. 4 bridges was burned and traffic was backed up and booties was buckling. I been had the accent. I'm still finding a way. Spread my wings. Spread my wings. Spread my wings. I'm still grinding the day. Spread my wings. Spread my wings. Spread my wings. I still fly in the rain. Spread my wings. Spread my wings. Spread my wings. I'm still grinding the day. Spread my wings. Spread my wings. Spread my wings.
Going up for the city. Going up for the town.
Hold up, man. We wasn't ready for that Earth Gang just yet, man. That was just a little sneak preview. You know what I mean? You see, I stepped away for a minute and the other song just played. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But we still inside the campaign mix, man. Before we even get to our vibration, you know what I mean? We're gonna hit a little bit of this real quick. Hold up. We in the background. We in the cut. We getting ready real quick. So I'm gonna turn my camera off. Shout out to the fam. Shout out to the chat room. You know what it is, man. We just vibing for a bit.
9-7. Hot shit. Check it out. Hit you with no delaying, so what you saying, yo? Silly with my 9 milli with the dilly, yo. When I be on the mic, yes, I do my duty, yo. While up in the club like we while in the studio. You don't wanna violate, nigga, really and truly, yo. My main thug, nigga named Julio, he moody, yo. Type of nigga that'll slap you with the tulio. Bitch, nigga scared to death, act fruity, yo. Fuck that, look at shorty, she a little cutie, yo. The way she shake it make me wanna get all in the booty, yo. Top mistress into banging bitches and videos. While I'm with my freak like we up in the freak shows. Hit you with the shit, make you feel it all in your toes. Hot shit, got all you niggas in wet clothes. Style my metaphors when I formulate my flows. If you don't know, you fucking with lyrical player pros like that. Do you really wanna party with me? Let me see just what you got for me. Put all your hands in my eyes to see. Straight buck wildin' in the place to be. If you really wanna party with me, let me see just what you got for me. Put all your hands with my eyes to see. Straight buck wildin' in the place to be. If you really wanna party with me, ain't God we trust. Yo, it's a must that you heard of us, yo, we murder us. A lot of niggas is wondering and they curious. How me and my niggas do it is so mysterious. Furious, all of my niggas is serious. Shook niggas be walking around fearing us. Front nigga like you don't wanna be hearing us. Gotta listen to how radio be playing us. 30 times I think she to make you delirious. Damaging everything all up in your areas. Yo, it's funny how all the chickens be always serving us. All up in between their ass when they wanna carry us. Hit you good then I hit them off with the alias. Various chickens, they wanna marry us. Yo, it's flip mode, my nigga, you know we bout to bust. 7-figure money, the label preparing us. Fight the dust instead of you making the fuss. Niggas know better cause there ain't no comparing us. Mad at us, niggas is never we fabulous. Hit my people off with the flow, that be marvelous. Oh shit, my whole clique victorious. Taking no prisoners, niggas is straight up warriors. Why you feeling that? I know you be feeling so glorious. Then I blitz and reminisce on my nigga notorious. Like you really wanna party like that, let me see just what you got for me. Put all your hands with my eyes to see. Straight buck violent in the place to be. If you really wanna party with me, let me see just what you got for me. Good all your hands with my eyes to see. Straight buck violent in the place to be. If you really wanna party with me.
DJ Super Blaze is in the mix.
Yeah, cause girls is players too. Yeah, cause girls is players too. Keep it playing, baby. You sage. Cause girls is players too. Bitches getting money all around the world, cause girls is players too. What you know about living on the top? Penthouse suites, looking down on the ops. Took her for a test drive, left them on the lot. Time is money, so I spent it on a watch. Hold on, little titty showing through the white tee. You can see the thong busting on my tight jeans. Okay, rocks on my fingers like a nigga wife me. Got another shorty, she ain't nothing like me. Yeah, about to catch another flight. Yeah, apple bottom make him wanna bite. Yeah, I just wanna have a good night. I just wanna have a good night. Hold up, if you don't know, now you know. If you broke, then you gotta let him go. You could have anybody, any money, mo. Cause when you a boss, you could do what you want. Yeah, cause girls is players too. Yeah, cause girls is players too. Play it, baby. Cause girls is players too. Bitches getting money all around the world, cause girls is players too. I'll go on and on and on again. He blowing on my phone, but I'm ignoring him. He thinking he the one, I got like 4 of him. Yeah, I'm sitting first class like bad Victorian. Came a long way from rag to riches. 5-star bitch, yeah, I taste so delicious. Let him lick the plate, yeah, I make him do the dishes. Now he on news 12, cause a bitch we're missing. Jeez, about to catch another flight. Yeah, apple bottom make him wanna bite. Yeah, I just wanna have a good night. I just wanna have a good night. Hold up, if you don't know, now you know. If you broke, then you gotta let him go. You could have anybody, any money, mo. Cause when you a boss, you could do what you want. Yeah, cause girls is players too. And it's time that we let them know that girls is players too. Keep playing, baby. Cause girls is players too. Bitches getting money all around the world, cause girls is players too. Yeah, cause girls is players too. Yeah, cause girls is players too. Keep it playing, baby. Yo, sage. Cause girls is players too. Bitches getting money all around the world, cause girls is players too.
Rich badness, them know a gunman style. Big Ben spark up and last big pan Kyle. Boss head one go gunman file. Be a killer we part with from we are juvenile. And we are on the ground. What else? Badness, where them a say? And we have up here to set a guy, where them a say? Yeah. Chain it a jip, bad clocks for a foot. We no listen boy, where you chat, where them a say? What else? Badness, where them a say? And we have up here to set a guy, where them a say? Chain it a jip, bad clocks for a foot. We no listen boy, where you chat up, where them a say? We pocket no fracture. We're up to the time, just like a watcher. Cologne a thump, just like a boxer. Catch a girl in our net, just like a lobster. And Avara clean, just like a mafia. We are big teeth, big crew. When you see we put the bar on our foot, but we not take lick and ride near me now. We are on the ground. What else? Badness, where them a say? And we have up the artist set a guy, where them a say? Chain it a jip, bad class for a foot. We no listen boy, where you chat, where them a say? What else? Badness, where them a say? And we have up the artist set a guy, where them a say? Chain it a jip, bad class for a foot. We no listen boy, where you chat, where them a say? From who no ready for party, put your cups up. With the girl them a freaky and love up. And with the dog them well up, get the big up.
I don't know if you could take it. No, you wanna see me naked, naked, naked. I wanna be a baby, baby, baby. Spinning in his red just like he came from Maytag. Rocket with it on the brown. When I get like this, I can't be around you. I'm too little to dim down a notch. Cause I can into things that I'm gon' do. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts.
Let's go.
I hope you know I'm for the taking. You know this cookie's for the bag. Kitty, kitty, baby, get her things to rest. Cause you done beat it like the 68 Jets. Diamonds are nothing when I'm rockin' with you. Diamonds are nothing when I'm shining with you. Just keep it white and black as if I'm your sister. I'm too hip to hop around town to hit with you. I know I get wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts.
Hey, I heard that pussy for the taking. I heard it got these other niggas going crazy. Yeah, I treat you like a lady, lady. Fuck you till you burned out, cremation. Make it cream, yeah, Wu-Tang. Throw that ass back, bouquet. Call me and I could get it juicy. I could tell you gone off the juice. Oh yeah, yeah. Careful, mama, why what you say? You talking to me like your new babe. You talking like you trying to do things. Now that pipe gotta run it like she Usain, baby. You made me drown in it, ooh, touche, baby. I'm carrying that water, Bobby Boucher, baby. And you know I'm a slaughter like I'm Jason. Busted, why you got it on safety? White girl waist, sit on brown liquor. I probably shouldn't be around you. Cause you get wild, wild, wild. You looking like it's nothing that you won't do. What you won't do? Hey girl, that's when I told you.
When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts. Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts.
DJ Khaled.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts.
There's never any doubts in my mind because I'm the best in the world. Even though a lot of you don't like to hear it, it's fact. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best. And I'm just convinced, you know what I mean? These fellas, how dare them challenge me with their somewhat primitive skills? They're just as good as dead.
Slam, Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some bullshit. I put the president on my wrist and I got frostbite. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. Slow on the hair and I don't sell them bitches too often. Man, my jewelry like some laser beams. Step out with your lady, shoot some babies on a Maybelline. Overdoses total, cut the cocoa with the ketamine. Dope and ibuprofen in my bowl, I got them recipes. Bossy, shooter like stuff, I just hit for free and I wasn't even looking. Your favorite rapper just hit the stage, little bitch, you about to book them. Bitches in love, but just keep the pussy, I just keep it pushing. My baby mama knew the job was crooked before they took it. Can't train records, bitch, we running shit. Just touched down in the airport, Louis V backpack full of them runners, bitch. Clean in that between hoe, I'm a gangster, not no lover, bitch. Grammy after party, bitch, we rock it like we won a bitch. Boss shit, Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some boss shit. I put that president on my wrist and I get frosted. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. CEO Rabbit, Young Freddy Kane, I'm on some boss shit. Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some boss shit. I put that president on my wrist and I get frosted. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. Pull up to your funeral room and shoot up your fucking coffin. I blow your house up with that 100 drum. No hot 100, I'm a hot boy with some murder ones. Cash money came back, no my son, and you my youngest son. See my first crackhead like that Beamer back in 91. I've been on the places, you fuckers rockin' the Gumby fade. Fucking up my gut with this activist like some lemonade. Bitches big DL if you violate, you a renegade. Know the trigger fingers ain't have to type on your Twitter page. Freddy Krueger, P90 Ruger, I'm creeping on them. Niggas say they ain't losing sleep, tell them I'm sleeping on them. Got heavy traffic, the neighbors might call the people on them. Surround your car with ARs, I put the Reaper on them. Death witch, cruising with that automatic shotty, that's a death kiss. Niggas be pulling through, so I aim up for the neck, bitch. Fly with it on me, I got my picky on the jet, bitch. Ready to set it off, and I put that on the set, bitch. Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some bullshit. I put that president on my wrist, and I got frosted. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. CEO Rabbit, Young Freddy Kane, I'm on some bullshit. Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some bullshit. I put that president on my wrist, and I got frosted. frosty. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. Pull up to your funeral and shoot up your fucking coffin.
There's never any doubts in my mind because I'm the best in the world. Even though a lot of you don't like to hear it, it's fact. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best. And I'm just convinced, you know what I mean? These fellas, I didn't challenge me with their somewhat primitive skills. They're just as good as dead.
Slam it. Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some bullshit. I put that president on my wrist and I got frostbite. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. Slow on the hair and I don't sell them bitches too often. Man, my jewelry like some laser beams. Step out with your lady, shoot some babies on a Maybelline. Overdoses Cholo, cut the cocoa with the ketamine. Dope and ibuprofen in my bowl, I got them recipes. Boss shit. Shooter like stuff I just hit for free and I wasn't even looking. Your favorite rapper just hit the stage with bitch, you about to book him. Bitches in love, but just keep the pussy, I just keep it pushing. My baby mama knew the job was crooked before they took it. Can't train records, bitch, we running shit. Just touchdown in the airport, Louis backpack full of them hundreds, bitch. Clean in that McQueen hoe, I'm a gangster, not no lover, bitch. Grammy after party, bitch, we rock it like we won a bitch. Boss shit. Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some bullshit. I put that president on my wrist and I got frostbite. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. CEO Rabbit, Young Freddy Kane, I'm on some boss shit. Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some bullshit. I put that president on my wrist and I got frostbite. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. Pull up to your funeral and shoot up your fucking coffin. I blow your house up with that 100 drum. No hot 100, I'm a hot boy with some murder ones. Cash money can't big no one son, and you my youngest son. See my first crackhead like that Beamer back in 91. I've been on the places, you was rocking the Gumby fade. Fucking up my cup with this activist like some lemonade. Bitches big deal if you violate, you a renegade. Know the trigger fingers ain't acting tight on your Twitter page. Freddy Krueger, P90 Ruger, I'm creeping on them. Niggas say they ain't losing sleep, tell them I'm sleeping on them. Got heavy traffic, the neighbors might call the people on them. Surround your car with their eyes, I put the Reaper on them. Death wish, cruising with that automatic shotty, that's a death kiss. Nigga be pulling through, so I aim up for the neck, bitch. Fly with it on me, I got my Vicky on the jet, bitch. Ready to set it off, and I put that on the set, bitch. Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some bullshit. I put that president on my wrist, and I got frostbite. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. CEO Rabbit, Young Freddy Kane, I'm on some bullshit. Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some bullshit. I put that president on my wrist, and I got frostbite. Stack it like Pringles, you want a single, it's gon' cost you. Pull up to your funeral and shoot up your fucking coffin.
Yeah, you listen to Super Play, let's go. Bang, bang, bang.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change is sweet. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's someday beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change don't come. Oh, it's sweet. I go to the movies and I go downtown, and my friends keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time, but I know change is gonna come. Yes, it will. Oh, listen to me, baby. Then I go to my brother. Yeah, oh, and I say, brother, help me please. But then he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there are times that I thought I wouldn't last for long, but now I know I'm able. Oh, carry on. It's been a long time, but I know change finally change.
Bang, 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 bang.
Tap in. Blaze, top of the hour, 9 o'clock. I'm gonna play one more joint. I gotta have him play one more joint real quick though. But our first guest tonight. Hold on, see, I'm getting straight to the guest. Music Media Lounge, Thriller Campaign. You already know what it is. Each and every Sunday. You know what I mean? We live in the building. Yes, we is. Tap in. Tell a friend, bring a friend, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? It's your boy Mac Ether, if you didn't know. You know what I mean? And again, we got two guests tonight. And first is always shout out to Back4WhatsMine. We're gonna pull them up in a minute. And then we got our second guest, the Urban Indians, pulling up on us at 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? Right after around that time frame. So we're gonna play one more joint. We loading up some stuff, and then we bringing up our guests for the night. Tap in, Blaze.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
Yeah. Long way from that west side. No way. I just wanna make love.
Shout out to Christopher for real.
I just wanna.
Thanks for the cash app. You know what it is, man, for real. So appreciate it.
Just wanna stay free, yeah.
Let's tap in, let's go.
Yeah. I just wanna make love. I just wanna make peace. I just wanna stay free, yeah. I just wanna stay free, yeah. I just wanna make love. I just wanna make peace. I just wanna stay free, yeah. I just wanna stay free, yeah. I come from a city where it's really hard. I'm really from them projects. When I got, I really seen them dead bodies off in the alley. Real talk, no capping. It really happened. 11 months old when they murdered my daddy. Mama so crack. I ain't even bragging. Whole life been drama. Whole life been pain. Childhood trauma. Whole life been a puzzle. Sometimes I struggle. All the time I hustle. Got that from my mama's side. Gunshots in my bedroom. Still got me traumatized. So happy I'm alive. I'm an angel in disguise. I'm divine. Yeah. I done lost a lot of things, but never lost my mind, never lost my shine. Stay free. Stay free. Stay free. Stay free. Stay free. I'm from a time and place where there's no time or space. Far beyond the heavens, way beyond the realms of outer space, where birds cannot fly and planes cannot go. The blissful land of Dharma Kshetra, the infinite abode of the soul. I'm from a galaxy far, far away, but I'm going home. Wish I could stay. See you later, Earth. I'm from a galaxy far, far away, but I'm going home.
One of them nights, man.
Stay.
A lot of technical difficulties, but you know what it is?
Samadhi, Samadhi. Satnam, Samadhi. Samadhi,
Samadhi, Samadhi.
Samadhi. Satnam, Samadhi. Samadhi, Samadhi.
Man, it's been great, man. You know what it is?
Samadhi.
Each and every Sunday night, type in, man. 8 to 9.
Satnam, Samadhi, stay free.
Stay free. Campaign makes people blaze. Mike, tap in. What up?
Tap in, tap in, tap in, tap in. Is we live? Hold on real quick. Get all our channels open. Oop, got an echo. Hold on. Word. You know we live in the studio. Gotta do all the tuning forks and shit. Tuning forks. You know what I mean? You already know what it is. To the campaign. It's your boy Mac Keith. And once again, shout out to Blaze Campaign Mix. Obviously, you see that cash app at the bottom. You can slide him a little something, get a donation to the man. You know what I'm saying? For the mix and everything like that. Shout out to Christopher. That I think he one of the guests most likely that I think we got pulling up. So shout out to him ahead of time for showing love. You know what I mean? Oh, we gonna get straight to it though. Pull up back, yo. God of Green. Shout out to God of Green, Baron P. You already know what it is. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Yo, yo,
Back.
yo, 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 yo. What the business is, how you doing, how your family doing? I am who I am in real life and on the net. How you and your family doing? Let's salute that there first. How y'all feeling? Y'all can
Doing
hear
good,
me?
man.
The
I can hear you
voice kind
good.
of. Okay, cool. Hey, Blaze, salute, man. Y'all already know how we rock. God of Green, y'all. I appreciate y'all having us up in here. GWG, we in the building. Savannah, Georgia, Seaport City, man. Go ahead, Mac. Ether, we call him Ether because that heat be coming through. So, yes, sir. Everything good. Go ahead and walk it down. I'm gonna mute my mic. You dig? Nothing changed but the weather. Nothing changed. Hey, God agree, my guy, he gonna dig up something. You know, if I need a
Already
problem,
know.
that's my lawyer. Hey, God agree, you gonna be on my lawyer team, you dig? And yeah, shout out to the whole party though. But yeah, man, the voice kind of the honor your wheel. We turned up this weekend and they got me stressing, but you know it's all great. We here. The show must go on, and I appreciate y'all. You dig?
Oh, for sure, man. You know we had. I told you I'm gonna get you on here.
That's a fact.
We've
That's a
been
fact.
building and doing things on you know what I mean for a little while now. So
Mm,
through everything, the history is what always bring me and you together on these conversations. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And
that's a fact.
you started a YouTube channel, and salute to you for doing that and doing the work you've been doing. And
Mm,
it's just like how it look. I look at a lot of people in the community that we tap into from around the nation. It be about what you doing in your community or what brand are you pushing out or what you got to show or whatever the case might be that people could tap into and see that you're actually putting some work in. And you know what I mean? I want to highlight that. You know what I'm saying? Because
mm.
what you historically are showing in Savannah, Georgia, boots on ground. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes,
you
sir.
really tapping in and going to these places and showing certain things historically that if most people probably drive by won't even pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? They
Mm,
wouldn't even understand what they're looking at because it doesn't have no relevance in their mind
mm.
of what's that supposed to mean to me. You know what I'm saying? As
Right.
so-called Black Americans,
Yeah.
don't get
Because what
triggered,
they
y'all.
did, was we go to the Woodrow Wilson, not even starting with him, but just dealing with the education, the so-called education that we got in the so-called hoods that were neighborhoods before they became was hoods. It was neighborhoods before they became hoods. And then when we got to these so-called schools, they're supposed to tell us what's what. And our ancestors, our elders told us who we really were. And then we get to schools, and then you will see things. That's why I always say, always act like a tourist in the city because it's there. But when you think that it's not you, you put yourself on a whole nother landmass. No disrespecting nobody, but then you missing everything that people bled for. Because y'all know I deal with the waters and wars, and then I go follow that money. I want to see how this was financed, and I see the ideology that's behind that, and that's why we got to break that spell, get off that hamster wheel, get on this spider web, and build for real, for real. Put the words to action, don't just talk about it. We walk about it. So, like Max said, I put the boots on the ground. That's true.
Bars,
And yeah, salute, salute, salute. But go
bars.
ahead, Mac. Yeah, bars. Yes, sir. Thank you. But it's bigger than Nino Brown. You dig? This thing bigger than Nino Brown. We gonna walk through. We got 60 minutes to get it through, and yeah, I'm here. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You dig? And I like again. I say I appreciate y'all giving me the time to spill my little half a cent of information. But
Yeah, half a cent.
don't get caught up in that. They get caught up in that
The
spider
cotton
web, and
web.
I hit
That
them. I hit
spider
them.
web.
I hit them with the monkey wrenches, and they can't
And the
deal with it.
monkey
But you,
wrench. You got all the punchlines back. You got all the
hey,
punchlines. I know.
hey,
I know they coming when you say certain thing. I know what's coming.
you
I got
already
a
know.
monkey wrench, Matt. I only got a half a cent, Matt, to get them off the spider web. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Yeah, to
Yes,
get them off
sir.
the hamster wheel. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So
That's
yeah,
that's
man, we're
that.
gonna get straight to something, man. Do you want me to go with how you sent them in order for us to
I,
track down so people can
I
see
want
some of
you.
the stuff? How you want
Yes,
to
sir.
do this?
We can get into that, but I want you. You know how we do. Like we do this on Clubhouse. Y'all don't know autonomous party on Clubhouse, and then y'all come to my house, pour, roll up, pull up, and it's based pour, roll up, pull up. It's you come as you are. Like they said, the church. You come as you are, right? But you come through with respect, and we can chop it up on any information. I'm all about the information, and I'm all about building. I don't know nothing about what I don't know nothing about. If it ain't not building towards really, because we so far behind the eight ball. Like I can't engage in none of that. Because if I want to deal with some called drama, I can go 5 seconds up my block and act like I'm the boss, and then you're gonna get everything. But that's not what we doing. We passed that. We need to move on. So however you want to rock it, Mac, I'm gonna rock out what you know how we do. We feed off each other, still
Well, I'm gonna
sharp and
highlight you
still.
first. I'm
Oh, let's
gonna
get
try.
to it. Let's get
Go to
to
the
it,
first
baby.
one, guy. Pull up the first one, bro. We got you trying in the timeline. You told me, right? If you want
Yes,
me to go
sir.
specifically, I got you. I got you lined up. I
Okay,
got you
let's get
lined
to
up.
it. Yes, sir.
Whenever you're ready, God.
Yeah. Press play on that though.
We coming. We coming. Yeah, I'm glad everybody gonna get a chance to see this. Boots on ground.
Yeah, BOTG, we're back. This is war.
And they say they ain't got swamps. Enjoy. Talking shit.
The lies, yes, sir. I'm gonna go get that though, man. You know I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah. Hashtag BOTG, we're back. This area we right here doing now, we doing the Civil War and 40 acres in the mule. This area right here is very important. This is Ebenezer Creek area. Yeah, you know the one that General Davis, when they freed the so-called slaves, they made a pontoon. Now it's all forced up and it goes a little further back. It's just some private property, but I'm taking you to the area. So the story goes, once they got freed, once Brigadier General Davis freed the slaves, it was 5,000 of them, they say. And they couldn't cross the Ebenezer Creek. The creek is said to be 165 feet wide, 10 feet deep. Right? So what happened? They freed them. So General Davis had 14,000 men
of soldiers, cannons, and everything. So what they made pontoons. They made pontoons to cross the bridge, to cross the creek. And he told the so-called free slaves not to cross until all the men and equipment get crossed. But soon as he did that, soon as all the men and everybody got crossed, he gave orders to pull the pontoons. So the so-called slaves were stuck with the Confederate soldiers wrapped behind them. So they got a lot of killed, a lot of people drowned, men, women, and children, old men, they say. Ebenezer Creek, this area over here. So that's part of the story that we're gonna start with. I want to bring y'all and show y'all. Y'all know me, BOTG. We're back. I get the tangibles, right? So that's gonna lead up to something else, and I'm gonna take you where I'm gonna tell you what's this the prelude to all the people that died. Colonel Kerr, 20 years ago, after the occurrence, said he saw it and it hurt his eyes. He never wanted to see that again, something like that. All those people got murdered, and the Union was supposed to come down and help free the slaves and take care of them, but they didn't. So Brigadier Davis gave the orders to pull the pontoons, and a lot of people died at Ebenezer Creek. You know, back I bring the tangibles. So we're going to continue to go on and fill this all in. Back at it. Civil War trails in Georgia. Now, we'll walk with me for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Still starting with Ebenezer. So important.
So important.
Right?
Yes, sir.
I found another route to show more of the water. It's the boat ramp. Show more of how wide and deep this creek is. You know, like I say, this is important, this part of it. Because it's a prelude to something that you know I'm going to lead you to. And so right now we out here, hashtag BOTG with back, boots on the ground, you know. We put the tangibles to the story, right? Some more Ebenezer Creek. It's already swampy right here, the puddles. So let's get to it. Let's see. Wow, it's a real low tide. Back bring you the tangibles. Ebenezer Creek. Standing on the bank. You got no help in front of you with the Union Army. And you got slave catchers and killers at the back. So you jump in the water. I hope for the best. Like I said, it was women, little children, and old men. A lot of them drowned. It's just another part. With that said, let's blow some smoke.
Look, you got blood in the water right now. You heard me?
You heard me?
Shit look murky. Muddy waters, you heard?
And that tree right there, that's where the boats, the canoes,
ancestors. Never know who's who. Might be yours.
Tree.
So we do the genealogy.
Do the genealogy.
All right,
pour out some libation.
Pour up.
Right?
Rest in power.
Respect.
On that one.
Ebenezer Creek. Look at this tree.
Wasn't this also called Negro Creek?
No, I got you. Story. I got you on Power 5 on that. I got you, brother.
Wow. Okay,
Trust me.
I'm tripping. Okay.
No, you good money. You good money, though. You good
different
money.
Type of tree. Ebenezer Creek, y'all.
That's a cedar tree.
Remember,
Ebenezer Creek, though.
1884, December 9th.
Forget that.
His name back.
It wasn't 1884.
Cold.
1884, forget
so you know the water was cold.
It was 1864.
Ain't no telling what type of animals were in that water.
1864.
Yeah, that was my bad with that. Right? I don't know what happened on that. That's my fault.
We do have alligators here. Snakes.
Yeah, so
this is the woods.
We correcting it right now. 1864.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's in about how far is this area from the Savannah River?
This is an hour. This is an hour. This is Ebenezer Creek, which leading up to the brilliant thing you gave me when we gonna get into that Beaver Creek and me and Tecumseh say, I'm gonna go ahead and that's gonna be in the power. That's gonna be in the BOT. That's gonna be in the power. And this is 18, like I said, that was wrong. I apologize to the family. That was 1864, December 9th, 1864. What happened in Ebenezer Creek is what going to give you your 1865 January, what we're going to get into on the next clip when we break it down. But you got to understand what happened to Ebenezer Creek. You feel me? And for anybody that want to try to bring it up, I'm just going to tell you, I haven't seen it no massive so-called foreign Africans that was in this. These were indigenous people, and like I said in the video, it might have been some so-called Black Europeans, that got into that. But that what was going on, and it gets deep. It gets deep. Just like I talk about the spider web, I say you study history of spider web, waters and wars, and then you get to that money, and it's gonna start busting a lot of this down. You know what I'm saying? Forgive my voice, family. You know what I mean?
Ain't
Anya,
no
we had
pressure.
turned up. We was out
Ain't
there
no pressure.
for the whole week. Celebrate with the family, talking about genealogy. But go ahead, Matt.
No, I got something for you on that. 'Cause I know
Yes,
we ain't
sir.
gonna. I don't want to take up too much time on that, but just off that, you pull up the last joint I just sent you, dealing with that area, Ebenezer Creek. I had to get my mind configured into what
But you
the
good
time
though.
area.
You
You know what I'm
good
saying? So
because
I got
Negro
something
Creek.
for this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Because
sir.
of the Negro Creek, Savannah, especially though you said Ebenezer Creek. I'm like, hold on,
Hmm.
wait a minute.
The
There's
church and
a
the church and the
mm,
Indian.
yeah, the church
The
in
church
the
and the
Ebenezer
indigenous
Baptist
person.
Church, and
Yes, sir.
you know what I mean? Yeah, in
Hmm.
that area, you know what I mean? And throughout the Carolinas, coming down into Florida, Alabama, Ebenezer. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
when you said Black Europeans, you know what I'm saying? And we're
Mm.
gonna get into that. I got that clip you sent me. I seen what you're
Uh-huh.
trying to do. You throwing alley oops. I caught it. Let you know I caught that bad boy.
I
Oh, the
already
Jacobite
know.
Gleam, you got the book. Okay, so you already know.
And we
You know
gonna
this.
get a little bit. We gonna get a little bit before I dip.
Yeah, definitely. We gonna kind of, but I want to get these other clips in. You got of the other
That's
joints on
right.
your channel real quick too. But I want to show you this joint real quick. Whatever guy you ready, you can pull up. You know what I'm saying? This is from Savannah News. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with
Mm.
this particular Ebenezer Creek. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Boom, right
100.
there. It says go around 20 miles up the Savannah River towards Ebenezer Creek, and
Mm.
you'll probably miss the patch of trees once known as Bear Creek Fortress. The name might fool you a bit. The fortress wouldn't give off the same look as Fort Pulaski or Sumter. This is
Mm.
instead, it was one of the many maroon communities in the United States. An almost forgotten history of formerly enslaved people in the
Mm.
low country. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying?
Mm.
Obviously, these different books right here that people talk about of the area, wildlife, and you see all mentioned down there. I mean, services, Southeast region, regional history preservation. You know what I mean? They got all these people in there. You know what I mean? Talk
Mm.
about, obviously, that lady, Sylvia Diouf. She's the director of not only the education, but she wrote a book dealing with the Maroons as well, exiles. It's funny that George Dawes Green, an award-winning historian, African diaspora, that's a lady name right there. Just to give you, this is you see, it says Savannah now, not me, right?
Mm.
I ain't making this up. You feel me? So
I
they
feel you.
know that in historical that there is indigenous and the people that are calling Maroons in this area, it's dealing with a fort. The British.
Yep.
Hmm,
Fort
interesting.
Pulaski.
You know what I'm saying? We know
Yes,
when we
sir.
trace these things down, it go back to certain groups of people that are at these forts. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Absolutely.
They're not Africans. I mean, I'm just gonna point that out.
They're
Like they
not.
ain't
They're
no,
not. They're not Africans.
they're not some West African people. You know what I
Nah.
mean? Like, I mean,
Nah.
I ain't saying they might not have an African look to them. You feel me? But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
their surnames and stuff didn't come from the Caucasian man as people perceive to say it. You know what I mean? So to speak, as far as their influence and culture. Um, whenever you can pull up the next one. God, you can go to the next
Agreed.
video.
Agreed. Before you do that, though, I didn't put this in the. If you go check out, I got 1, 2, and 3 videos as far as dealing with the Civil War going down. What Mac is talking about is called Fort Pulaski. Now, when you deal with Fort Pulaski and the way that the colonial education told us that Abraham Lincoln came out with the Emancipation Proclamation, he's so-called supposed to have been the first. But if you go back into my Civil War Part 1, get Part 1, 2, and 3 in your diet. Y'all know that's what I say. Get it in your diet. You know, don't worry about where it says Savannah. Dig, because what spread is spread. You got to get information if you want it. And even if you don't dig with me, I'm not gonna lose no sleep. I promise you. I'm just trying to spread the word. I'm gonna be all right. You dig? I'm gonna make sure.
Yeah, right.
GWG, we gonna be good. Like Max say, you dig. But when you look at that, he talking about Fort Pulaski. You got to understand what happened. That you had Special Order 7 and Special Order 10 that emancipated the so-called black people because they had to have them fight in Fort Pulaski. And then Lincoln got wind of this and trashed it. And this was, check out the video. And when you're there, please hit the like button. That's all I ask. Hit the like button to share if you like. But if you don't, still get information. I ain't gonna worry about. I'm still gonna drop what my answers tell me to do. You dig? And I'm always gonna eat. You feel me? But it was Emancipation Proclamation before Abraham did that. You dig? It was before that. And when you go in Fort Pulaski, what you talking about, Matt? That's a fact. That's true. That's truth over facts, I should say. You dig? And we put boots on the ground. We get the books and we get the looks, and then we go put boots on the ground. We put tires to the pavement, you know, and then So, but go ahead, Mac. We get
no pressure. No,
but you had said something. I just wanted
I
to
want
drop
you to break
on.
things down. Now I'm going to
I appreciate you. You know, I take the mountain. We take the mountain and bust it to the pebble.
There's another one. That's another little line.
You know,
back right there, boy.
Hey man, I missed that line
earlier. Hold on. Here we
go. Go ahead, baby.
Oh, the time frame, right? You got the timeline? I bet.
We put the tangibles to it, you know.
We put the tangibles to it.
Well, again, this has to be part of the story, right? Hashtag BOTG with back. Okay, let's get some of the sights. Let's get some of what's going on. Right? We got time. I got the tangibles for you to go to the story. So this is the mansion. This is where Sherman stayed at during the Civil War. Right? Nice, $93,500. We going in back? Of course. Before we go in, we got to get this because it's going to tell a story of why we're going into the house. History of Emancipation Special Field Order number 15. So, what happened at Ebenezer Creek?
Wrong,
right? 64.
Wrong, yeah.
64.
I apologize.
64, y'all. 64.
1864.
Stanton was President Lincoln's war cabinet advisor. So when they found out what happened at Ebenezer, right? I think his name was Colonel Connolly was writing a letter to the president, and the story leaked and got in the news. So I'm thinking the 40 acres and the mule. I wouldn't say a bad day because people died and it was a tragedy, it was a massacre. But then you get Special Order 15 out of it. So on January 12, 1865, U.S. Secretary of War Edward Stanton and General William T. Tecumseh met here. They met there, that house. We put the tangibles to it. Met at the home of Charles Green, where 20 leaders from Savannah African American churches, including Garrison Frazier, Ulysses L. Hudson, Houston, and William Campbell. The meeting resulted in Sherman's issue of Special Field Orders number 15, which encouraged the enlistment of freemen and also reserves coastal land for Charleston, from Charleston south to Florida St. Johns River for settlement for free families in 40-acre tracts. So each family was going to get 40 acres from Florida to Charleston, South Carolina, right? The Freedmen Bureau Act on March 1865 formalized government aid to free slaves, but made no provisions for land. Made no provisions for the land. After President Lincoln's death, President Andrew Jackson, Democrat,
Johnson,
right, revoked special order, field order number 15, hampering efforts by African Americans to gain economic independence after Emancipation Proclamation. So some people look at the so-called African Americans in North America and say, well, what happened? Well, it seems like you can't get right. This is one of the reasons. Excuse the bell.
Don't want to hear the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my car. Y'all get out my business. Psych. Let's go in.
Let's go in.
Okay. Family, we are in the Green Mildred house. Wow, this is where the 40 acres and the mule discussion took place in Savannah, Georgia. You
don't get no relic.
Some of the relics still up here.
Rilla the fishing rod.
Hashtag
right?
BOTG with back. We're bringing the tangibles.
We don't get that Rilla.
It's actually, you can see Robert E. Lee. There go your Confederate President, Jefferson. And that money I told you.
That money. Follow that money.
That money look like there's Negroes on it.
I got
bring the tangibles. The Bible. That different writing, that European
Old English.
Ancient writing right there.
And this wasn't even supposed to happen. I'll tell you the story after we
So this is where the discussion went down. When they asked for Mr. Garrison Frazier.
Y'all hear me breathing heavy?
What you want.
I'll tell you why.
He asked 12 questions. I'm gonna leave a link for y'all to look at those questions. And when they asked the participating parties, the reverends, it was 20 in here, along with Edwin, and it was also William T. Sherman, right? And Mr. Edwin, you know, the security, war defense security secretary for Lincoln, he asked, and the gentleman stood up, Mr. Frazier, and said, what do you want? They said, we want land. L-A-N-D. He said, we wanted land. This is the place where it took place at. We want land, and we want to be separate from so-called white people. There was one contention in there. 19 people agreed, but one reverend that was from Baltimore, he said we should coexist like he was doing, like what Martin Luther King said, with so-called white people. But at that time, Mr. Frazier and the rest of the congregation said, no, we just want land and to be left alone, and let us till the land till we can make it our own. And then our kids would join the military, the U.S. military. So that's your 40 acres and a mule. But I just wanted to bring you the tangibles. This is where it took place at.
I just wanted to bring you the tangibles.
This was 1865, family. And now we're in 2022. Hashtag BOTG with back, please. We bring you the tangibles.
Shout out to the ancestors.
Now I'll give you more to the story. We're going to go check out the churches where the gentlemen were involved. And I'm going to leave the link for the list. There go another picture of Robert E. Lee. Now let's see that glare. Allegedly, some say. But this is it. They got the book, Sherman, the soldier of passion for order.
We know better.
All right. Let's go check out some more. 100, 100, 100. Hash.
Yeah.
Word up.
That's
That
the
was
churches right
deep.
there.
That was
Hey, I
deep.
thank y'all, brothers.
That was deep. Matter of
My
fact,
little
when you
half a
got that
cent. My
walkthrough, that
little
was
half
deep.
a cent.
You know what I mean?
And
Hey, that half
yeah.
a cent worth some shit. You heard me?
Hey, you know they was I ain't gonna say the brother name. When I pull up, right, I can't forget what day I pull up, and I was like, because they said it was some tours you can go through. But what I told the brother, and I ain't know how he was going to play it, because you never know. Shout out to my Angelo, Skin Don't Make It Kin. But the brother, he was like, yo, I understand what you're doing, I love what you're doing. Come up real quick, because it wasn't supposed to happen the way I did it. They'll do a tour, but they like give you a little 2-second. You dig? That's why you hear me breathing, because I'm excited. At the same time, I can feel the energy and I know the story. And then I'm walking through. This is 1865, right? And it's still here today. That's why I tell y'all, be a tourist, act like a tourist, get access, walk through it. All they're gonna do is they tell you know what that means. But if you don't ask and you don't get granted, then a closed mouth don't get fed. So me, I just be like, yo, yeah, I'm here. So he allowed that. So salute to him. You know, now we got that. You know, we saw it, the same day, and we walked to the store. If you people continue to follow it, I'll take you to the grave sites, then I'll take you all the way around the story. And but that's where your 40 acres and the mule so-called came for. The mule was just a throw-in. It was some mules that they brought from up north that they couldn't use, you dig? And the 40 acres come from Ebenezer Creek. It was a let's do something, because they messed up with the Ebenezer Creek. They killed a lot of people, got killed, right? A lot of people, a lot of ancestors, our ancestors got murdered in that swamp. And when you see what I showed you, it's actually wider than that when you go on the boat side, you dig? But you wouldn't have that. The 40 acres only got to you from the Sea Islands. That's coastal South Carolina all the way down to Florida. So we dealing with the Timucua Indians area all the way up to the South Carolina Indians, the Casaba, the all the different Indians. You know what I'm saying? I want to go. It's so many tribes, but when you think about it, like Matt brought up Negro Creek, when you deal with that too, that's in that area. You're gonna see that on Power 5. You dig? And this is what the so-called Mayans would have used to come and get that glue that you see on the murals on the back of the wall. I know I don't want to get too off, but
Are you good?
yeah.
I want to pull up the next joint real quick that you sent me
Yes,
though,
sir.
dealing with the Jacobite Gleanings book. I
Oh
want to
yeah,
get at
let's get
least
into
get
that. Let's get
I
into
want to
that.
make sure what I mean, we got at least 30 minutes before our second guest pulls up on us. So let's
Yeah,
I want to just pull that up
Neophyte
real quick.
DAG, Neophyte DAG, man. Shout out to him, and shout out to Empress 444. You dig?
Was there a certain part you just want me to play a clip?
No. Actually, pause it real quick.
Pause.
Actually, I was sending you that on. I should have sent you. I should have sending you that on the backdrop when people was talking about the so-called Black Europeans or whatever. But I was just sending you that because and wanted you to pick what you wanted from that, you know. But I wanted to get into some things he had did when we get into dealing with the Jacobite Gleeman, and then you got the other book that you got to get that goes together. So there's nothing really we have to play here. I just want people to check out what he did. His joint is called The Black Queen Anne, and they can get that drop for themselves. But if you saw something in that, you know, then that would have been. You dig?
I mean, it's just I got this is an hour. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to find maybe like a 3-minute part of it, particularly.
Yeah. If we go to now let me guesstimate.
The first part. You want to run
Okay,
into the first part, or
whatever
you
y'all
want to
want
go
to
through?
do. Because he get into the book. He get into this book right here.
Yeah.
Can y'all see it? Can y'all see it?
Yeah. I'm gonna put it on the big screen in a second. Let's hold on real quick. Go to just let them play this beginning part for people to check out the beginning of the joint.
Dig. Shout out
to you in the name of the Father, the Most High, Allah, Yah, Yod, Hek, Vahweh, God in our modern day name, and in the name of the Lord, Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah. This is Neophyte DAG bringing you another message, and this message is
Queen Anne and all the Stuart kings and queens of England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France, Denmark, Norway, Portugal, Germany, Spain were all people of color, what we would call in our modern day black people. They were all people of color. And in this message, we're taking it always from Job 9, verse 24, which warns us that the earth is America, is given into the hands of the wicked, and the wicked shall cover up, shall hide, disguise, paint over the faces of the people of color, the people of the house of Israel, the people of the house of Jacob, the people of the house of Judah, prophets, rulers, and leaders, so you won't know who they are, where they're from, where even you're from, and who can you be going forward. But we're going to unravel and uncover some of that painting, some of that disguise, and some of that hiding. Queen Anne, she ruled England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales from 1702 to 1714. She's of the Stuart clan. She's the last of the direct line of the Stuarts that ruled as kings and queens. She brought it to an end. So there's a dark side to her ending. And stay tuned, we're going to get into that as well. She was born in England, lived in England, died in England. She formed a union between the Black Britons, the Black Englanders, and the Black Scotlanders. They were one people but apart because Oliver Cromwell had shaken the trust between England and Scotland, so they weren't getting along very well. She mended some of that in 1707. Her father is a black man. He is the son of King Charles I. We have already covered messages on King Charles I and his wife. They were both people of color. They were both black people. So the son must be black. Her father was dethroned, and Queen Anne had a part to play in that. Her father wanted to convert England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales to Roman Catholics, but the people would not have any of it. And Anne sided against her father to move him from the throne. She voted to remove him. After her death, there was a hybrid between the Stuarts and the George line, which were still the Stuarts. The Stuarts went over to Germany, married into royalty, and then brought a son back to England as George I to start ruling over England, Ireland, and Scotland, and Wales. They're all the same people of color. That's what I want to tell you about Queen Anne. She brought the legacy of the Stuart line of leadership to an end in 1714 upon her death. Let's go into Queen Anne and figure out who she is. We go to the Dictionary of National Biography, Volume 1, talks about Queen Anne. In person, Queen Anne is described as her complexion ruddy. I have ruddy described for you from the 1828 Webster Dictionary. Of a red color, of a bright yellow color. She can be ruddy red or she can be ruddy yellow. We'll figure out what exactly she is as we go through this message. We move to another book, The History of England from the Revolution in 1688 to the death of George II by Smollett. That's the reference that was made in the National Biographer. Same reference is pulled out in this book, page 184. Death and Character of Queen Anne. Anne Stuart, Queen of Great Britain, her complexion ruddy. Again, I have ruddy for you. Ruddy red or ruddy gold, but we'll go further and figure out exactly what she is. We go to another book, Lady Queen Anne, a biography of the Queen Anne of England by Margaret Hodges. Page 206 of that book. At the bottom it says, in less lyrical vein, Abel Boer, it's a person that wrote about what he saw of Queen Anne. gave an almost clinical description of Queen Anne. Her complexion is sanguine and ruddy. Let's figure out what sanguine is. They threw in another new word at us. Sanguine, reddish brown color of dry blood. So we know she's in the ruddy red category. Sanguine ruddy, a reddish complexion. That's Queen Anne. Reddish complexion, but we're not done as yet. We got more ruddy red, since we've identified that she's of a ruddy red complexion. Ruddy red on the left, ruddy yellow on the right. Just in case these words pop up again and you want to figure out who is ruddy and what ruddy looks like. Ruddy red, ruddy gold.
All right, hold it right there.
You're not confused anymore because you.
But I just wanted to give a little piece because and I thought his name is Neophyte DAG. You know, Neophyte DAG. I never conversated with the brother, but I thought he did a dope drop on that, and other people did dope drops. So you know me back. You know, BOT. If I'm gonna do BOTG on the ground, I gotta get my joints. If you look at my Power 2 video, you will see this pop up in the corner because I like to throw little crumbs to see if people are really watching. Then you will see when we get into 1704, we talk about the Queen Anne War. And over here in the Americas, we had the 1704, the Deerfield Massacre. This is in Power 2. And you will see I pop up. I don't know if that's her, but that's the person they put in the movie of Queen Anne. When they talk about sanguine, right? Ruddy red. And when they talk about the so-called red man with the American Indians, if I show you a picture of my father, this is why I be around my family. My father, if you look at his complexion, he will be so-called sanguine. He is like a red man, like serious business, no cap.
Right.
So we get this in our diet, Matt, and I found one of my surnames in this joint. This here really tells you what was, if y'all can see, apologize for the light, you know, and I ain't the first to do it. So I want to hear that, and I hope I'm not the last, because we got to continue to keep the information pumping like they was pumping this fake stuff on us. We got to reverse it, you dig? So we're going to keep pumping it from all areas off the spyware. So say, oh, yeah, you wasn't the first. No, I'm not trying to be the first. Like Master P said, I'm not trying to be the best rapper. He wanted to be the best hustler. You dig? So I want to, let's get the information now, because it's not about us. It's about the youngest. So when you get this here, right, I had this, and then I got turned on to this here. They go together. This is the Mackie.
The memoirs.
My bad, the memoirs.
That's heavy.
And and this why I say I shout out Empress 444, but I'm gotta get my hard copy, because I'm gonna take these, family, and put them in your trust. You know, put them in your library trust. Man, I ain't gonna go too far, but you know how we get. We get the rolling. We get the rolling. It is right there. Y'all can see. Shout out to PW. It's just the company. I'm on the wrong side down. You know, and yeah, I took everything out the name, you know what I'm saying, put it into the trust, you know, PW, you know, W, you know, say all the car, everything out the name. But when we get these two, you get this one, and we put our genealogy in it. It don't take away from your genealogy. We just know what's going on, because we go and deal with Spain. I'm doing Power 5 now. Now I'm dealing with Florida, Florida, you know, West and East. But you know, Florida. Yeah, but Spain had everything going up all the way up the border, because we know 1452, dumb devices, I call it doom devices, came out. You know, they put a papal bull on you. They gave it to Alfonso V, you know. And then after that, 1455, you know, the Romanus Pontiff came out. And they also gave it to Alfonso V out of Portugal. So when they was putting the whips and chains, these were your first shackles. You know, that's why I call it doom devices. You know, but when you get into that's another story. But you know, all this, when you watch my power videos, I break it down, and people say, "Oh, it's going too fast. It's built like that. It's only 2-3 minutes," and I'm packing that. So slow it down, pause it, watch it again, do what you need to do, because when I get you to Power 5, I really need to sit you down for an hour and some change. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much information going on, and I can't cover it all, but things that I'm discovering, because I'm in these Spanish records, I'm in these Portuguese records, and I got to give it to the fam, you know, and if you receive it, if you don't, you don't. I'm not here to be your Jesus and save the world, you know, because when you read the story, Jesus ain't want to go get hung. He had to get strengthened by the Spirit. If you believe that, I'd rather be know and tell you, yo, this is what it is. This is what I found. You got something to add to the spider web. And if you ain't gonna get on this boat leaving on time, if I'm on a one deep or not. And I tell that to my family too, you heard me? So
For
we
sure.
can't play with it.
We got
Can't
before you
play with it.
slide on me, man. I gotta get the last video real quick. You know what I'm
But let
saying?
me say one more thing. We say one more thing, and I'm gonna let you put that. If I can get two more seconds back, I don't want to hold up.
No pressure, no pressure.
We talk about this financial game, family, and you know I deal with that too. The waters and wars and fines. So we see what's going on. I'm gonna speak a little fast. I don't want to hold the room. You know what I'm saying? But things to invest in, tangibles. Like I said, do the boots on the ground, try to get tangibles. So things that we doing, our family. This right here, if I can get in the camera, down the light. This is a silver
I
eagle,
see it.
right? You
Yeah.
dig? And then this is the what they call silver rounds. Now you would lose, this would be cheaper than a silver eagle, right? But you would say your silver eagle if the monetary system failed, like they say. This stuff never failed. You know, it's tangible. So you would spend your so-called silver round, my bad, before you spend your silver eagles, right? And then if you want to get a little more, you know, you get you some gold in your diet, you dig, GWG, you know what I'm saying? And you want to keep it close, but not too close. Everything you build, you must protect, and you build on the spider web, and it's all genuine. And if I can build what you connect with me, we can build. But just make sure it's all sincere, because it ain't about me; it's about the youngest in the world coming next. So I do a salute to the GWG, salute to you, Mac, Ether. You know, and the Thomas Party. Salute to the ancestors. Salute to the Most High. Salute to my daughter, Cool Kid. You dig?
Shout out to your daughter, yeah, cool kid.
I appreciate it, man. The heir to the
Yeah, shout
throne.
out to your
So,
daughter, man.
and take your children's name and put in the corporation early. Make sure they remember they said Michael Jordan and some of these people would have owned their name as young. They would have been trillionaires over. So get your kid's name, invest in them. My daughter do artwork. I save all the artwork now. She's only 9. She had 3 bank accounts when she was 6. So I protect her name. So when she get older, if I'm not here, then she can goddamn ride on her own name and don't be nobody worker. You be the boss, baby. You dig? But go ahead, Mac. I do appreciate y'all rocking with
Ain't no
me.
pressure, bro.
And
Appreciate you sliding on us.
Forget a voice, man. And we're gonna do it again because I got some. Yeah, we'll talk.
We gonna pull back up on us again. Ain't no pressure.
100.
What's this? So this one right here is
This Power 4.
Power
This Power
4. Is there a certain part that you wanted on it? Oh, it's only 2 minutes.
Not.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
only
It's
two.
only 2
Just
minutes.
run
Power
the
4.
whole.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
get it in your
All right.
diet.
So
I
yeah,
appreciate y'all.
we're gonna give them the 2-minute joint right here. Let them check this out. Power 4.
I am that I am by blood.
Crispus Addicts.
Yeah. Look at this mama.
The Red Six were playing, ain't it?
Oh nah, it wasn't no joke with the red sticks.
Mm-mm.
You know, that red stick gonna run into your Negro 4. Yeah.
Yeah, surely.
Salute. More power, you know.
For
Yeah,
shizzle, man.
we gotta be on our
Better
power.
help
We ain't on our power game. We ain't on our
Nah,
power game.
man.
We missing out. You know, but I know we got the guests coming up, and yeah, man, I do appreciate the time again. Like I said, I want to say salute to my most high power, and I say my most high power, not here to put no religion on nobody. Salute to my most high power and the higher powers. Salute to the ancestors, the elders, the moms and pops. Salute to, like I said, my daughter, cool kid, heir to the throne. Salute to Mother Earth and all the animals. Y'all know I dig on that. So salute to that too. And let's take this what we learned and activate it, and let's build together because we so far hard, so behind the eight ball. It's no time to play games. You know, I laugh and joke. I don't play no games when it comes in because it's not about me. It's about that next generation. Get your life insurance in order. You know, whatever you need to do, set up what you need to do for you, and we can build together. We can build together. Like I say, I'm not here to be Jesus. I'm gonna tell you what's popping over here. You want to get a part of it. If you don't, then the boat gonna leave on time. If I gotta be on a one deep, and I tell that to my own blood family. So you know, it's cool in the gang, and I wish all y'all the best and bless up. You dig? You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure, man. Matter of fact, while I'm waiting for the other guests to pull up, man.
Yeah. What's happening?
You know, just the other night, you see me Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And the
Yes,
Thomas
sir.
party on Clubhouse, and you know, I
Yes,
was
sir.
dealing with the thing we call, you know, this Pan African, Pan Indian thing,
Mm, mm,
and what you just covered in this hour of what you put boots on the ground about.
mm.
We got Black Europeans, we got
Yes, sir.
Maroons, we got
Mm,
Indians. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
All in these areas of where you are right now, present day Georgia. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
Let's not forget the Germans, the Hessians that were
Yeah. Yeah.
there too. Hmm.
I got the Germans. I'm gonna get in Power Five. I got the German marrying a so-called indigenous or a so-called black woman in the 1500s, coming out of the Spanish records. So when they tell you 1619, the so-called first black people got here, they off by like 106 years. Yeah, we got that. BOTG went back. We gonna bust all that down. But go ahead, Mac. You know how we do it, though. You
Shit,
know, I don't be cutting you up. There it is. That's what I'm talking about.
shit.
They don't want
You know what I mean?
barbecue it back, man. Let's get it. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, my brother.
Now, I'm gonna keep it realer than fishing rods. I think that
That
people
part.
need to know.
That
You know what I'm
part.
saying? Whatever
You've
you
been
put
here,
your,
man. You've been
yeah,
here, man.
we been
Ain't no way
here,
around. Ain't no way
right?
around
Ain't no
it.
way around it. Whatever mixture it is, you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Your people been here, man. You
Yeah.
indigenous to America, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
everybody didn't mix. That's just, but a lot of people did because that's what
Not
it
everybody
was.
mix, of course not. That's why
Yeah.
people got a lot more are finding and realizing that they got more roots in the indigenous realm of things, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, than others. But you
Mm.
can't speak for everybody. That's where people
That
mess up
part.
with this pan ideology that you're just gonna speak on behalf of me and say, shit, we all came from Africa. We all was on the ships. Huh? Just like I ain't gonna sit here and you tell her, no, everybody was already here. Nobody came on ships. Huh?
Right.
Like that's not what we know historically took place. So it's
Right.
like, okay, drastic numbers, nowhere close to 12 million the way they talk about it. You know what I'm saying? There's empires on this side, just like there's empires falling on that side. You feel me? A lot of the West African empires fell, or one that they don't like to talk about, the Songhai Empire fell. And then it's funny enough, on this side of the world, we got three empires that we know were here in 1492. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The Inca, the Aztec, the Mayans. You know what I mean? We're not going to even get into all the other situations. Just know that those are
Right.
empires. And they're not
Right.
even talking about all the other nations, tribes, and groups of people that are already in what we call the Americas. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
think that that's
Yeah.
really where I want to kind of, you know, tell people, like, and you know this because you be around me. I don't ever really get at nobody. I ain't rude to nobody and nothing like that. You know, hey, you asked for it, you kind of really put me in a position. But outside of that, you know what I mean? I really try to be very respectful to everybody that comes into our space and have a discussion and put your sources up. Tell me, you know what I mean? Because you might put something on to something I might not know about. But I think I've already heard the African narrative because we've been taught that in the school system. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like this is what we ain't. Why aren't we being taught about the books you just showed? Can you bring up that book again? The
Yes,
Jacobite
sir.
Kings. Why are we not?
You got
understanding.
these two right here. You know, Neophyte DAG Empress 444 put me onto this one, and I've been had that one. And like I say, I ain't the first to do it. I hope I'm not the last. I'm not here to be the first to do. Nah, I ain't. I want to be the first to change my credit score so I can put my youngins onto my credit score. You dig? I want
For
to be
sure.
the first. You know, on some real first. I ain't here to. Nah, I'm here to build because it's you got to know what's going on. And if you go back to like you see the financial system, you go back to the 1920s, 1929, 30, 31. The Great Reset's been happening. Shout out to Truth or Compromise. You know, she gets into it. You know, and yeah, we got to look at all this. You know, you got to look at the spider web. The power of the spider web is in the center. You have different networks. That's why I say if you're on that hamster wheel, you're going to continue to say the same things, and you're going to pass that down generation as we've been doing, further putting us back, and everybody comes to eat. You know
For
what I'm
sure.
saying? Whether they want to admit it or not, that's what it is. Because a lion would never tell a deer how to escape, because I need to feed off you. So when other people can feed off of you, they know the truth. But at the same time, I got to take that money and boom, boom, boom. So it's up to you to figure it out. You know, and once you know what it is, and if I don't know, then I can go at Thomas Pryor, what you got over here, such and such, what you got over here, what you got over here. You know, barter system like we used to do. You know, when we had the penny cut, the penny lady, the thrill lady. Y'all might call them icy down here. We call them thrills in Savannah, Georgia. You know, Seaport City, you got the thrills. You know, you sell it. I learned to sell that when I was 7 from my grandmother. You know, we had the little spot when they're in Jefferson, and we started selling thrills, you know, and generating income. I was 7 years old. I jumped off the porch at 7, learning. Yeah, Gwinnett Jefferson. Anybody know about that? But yeah, I was raised around that type of stuff. What you see in Boys in the Hood, where Kane was running around like in the pajamas, and all these old folks partying and all that. Yeah. That's how you know. That's why I was as a youngin. But I take that and see it now. So I got to bust it down to the spider web, you know, and
For
that's
sure,
what it
man.
is. The power. Yes, sir.
Man, I appreciate your time, man. You know, I got guests coming to pull it up right now.
Yeah, man. I
So I
appreciate
appreciate you
y'all,
for pulling
man.
up on us, man, and sitting on our
Uh,
Thomas couch and
yeah,
presenting
that
boots
part
on the ground. Boots
already.
on the ground, you feel me? Savannah, Georgia, in the building.
Seaport
Again, tell
City,
everybody the
baby.
website real quick. We're gonna play one quick song. Go ahead and we're gonna let you get to our next guest, but real quick, tell them the website real quick before you slide, man.
Well, what we're going to do at GWG, Generational Wealth Group. You can catch me on Instagram. Facebook is there. I'm getting called. I don't really be on that, but it's there. Mostly Instagram. You can hit me on pull up on Clubhouse. And if you got my numbers, you got my mathematics, and you know how to hit me digitally. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? If I see you, I see you. And if you want to build, let's build. You know, and that's just what it is. I am who I am, and I am who I am based on my ancestors. And again, shout out to my city, my beautiful, ugly city, Seaport City, you know, Savannah, Georgia. You know
Savannah.
what I'm saying? Savannah, Georgia.
No,
Come
for
see
sure.
me. Y'all touch
For sure,
down, man. I
bro.
got you, man. We're going to be all right. We're going to barbecue, do it the Indian way, man. And anybody I learned something from, shout out to y'all. And if you learned something from me, it's okay to say I got this from Back4WhatsMine. I just want to
Ain't no
say it. People
pressure.
they don't want to do that, but I ain't worrying about it. Let's get it to the youngins and get your affairs in orders. Get your
All right,
affairs in
bet.
orders. All right,
Appreciate you,
appreciate
back.
you. Hey, love y'all 100.
Peace. Blaze, give me
Yo.
one joint. Go get to our next guest. We're gonna get to our next guest. Give me 1 second. We're gonna load up real quick, make sure everything right. And Blaze, give me one quick song real quick before we pull him up, man. Let me give him one quick song real quick, y'all. Hold on real quick. Loading.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the, because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Maury and porridge. Kids get their money off on it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah. We got good of them assets, good of my facts. Get for the cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a flash from the past. We on this fast, be prepared to hit the gas.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, here we travel. Drive. Blood eye, here we travel.
Just my child.
Blood eye, here we travel. Hit him with the high, yeah. Stereo, I got from Virginia.
I know I'm more because I'm less. I know I'm more. I passed the test.
We got to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, yeah, we travel.
Drive.
Blood eye, yeah, we travel.
Just my child.
Pull up.
Blood eye, yeah, we travel.
Pull up. Woo! Name up. Lord knows. That boy Black Jagger, boy, I'm gonna tell you something. He got heat. Shoot, let's pull up our next guest though. Urban Indians is in the building. You know what I mean? Tap in. How y'all doing?
Hey, Lucha, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Doing all right, man. It's crazy how first it's crazy how we even met, right? Because of Facebook. That's how I know you, Facebook, right? And it's a small world in this community, it would say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know you guys were tied to the Urban Indian. Like I didn't know it was separate, or you know what I mean? So I was like kind of confused. And that's why, even though we've been obviously friends on Facebook for a little while now, I never really paid attention to it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Until certain things took place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you are and I want you to tell the people, because that's why I like to say now, I had to, after in our conversation through Messenger on Facebook, I had to apologize and be like, my bad, I thought you guys were all, you know what I'm saying? I keep it real. I'm an honest person out in the public. I was like, look, my bad, I thought you was tired, you know what I'm saying? So my fault, you know what I mean? At the same time, that's when I wanted to get more understanding and get real clarity to it. So when did you guys start the Urban Indian joint? Can you tell everybody about y'all brand and what y'all doing, where you from and everything?
Okay. All right. Well, people, they call me Traveling Bear. I got that name from Alpha Wolf. Y'all know him as Rodamez, right? So me and him, we got close when I was first getting into this information. He kind of one of the people that was giving me some of the info. And we both was in the same situation together. We both got out of the situation, but that's a whole nother story, right? For another day. Well, I'm from Philly. I grew up in North Philly. So a couple of years ago, maybe about 3 years ago, I started looking into my heritage. I was living in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, like Lithonia, Georgia. So I started looking into my heritage, started finding some things that was saying Indian. And I'm like, well, shoot. I mean, I've been African-American my whole life. So I went down that road. So I got back to Philly about 2020, and a friend of mine named Ibn, one of the co-founders of Mesquite, he has a studio called Pyramid Studios down there in North Philly. So he was letting me use his studio, and I was doing lives in the studio. So when I was doing the lives in the studio, I started calling myself the Urban Indian, because as I was realizing who I was, I realized that our people now was living in the inner cities. As I started seeing stuff like the Urban Indian Housing Act, I started looking at that, and I started putting pieces together. So I said, well, what happened to the culture that we had? So around 2020, 2021, I said, you know what? I'm an Indian, but I'm an urban Indian. So that's really where the name came from. It kind of was like putting a name to a culture that got forgotten, that we still have a culture. It's just urbanized version of the same culture. So that's what the brand really was about. And I came up with that about 3 years ago.
3 years ago. So I know that if you've been having it 3 years, I know that this group just recently branded the Urban
Yeah,
Indian Heritage Society. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? As far as paperwork, I know that it took place in this year.
yeah,
So technically, they've been in business for about, what we say, 3 months. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say about 3 months. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Give or take.
yeah. You
You know
know,
what I
the
mean? So,
actual,
but
yeah.
go ahead.
I came up with the name, and they actually, the people that you're speaking of, they knew I came up with the name. They actually asked me, could they use a variation of the name, actually.
Wow.
So, and they used it on Facebook. They had a Facebook page called the Urban Indian Heritage Society.
Right.
So
So they
that was
came
one.
to you.
Yeah, they actually
They
came
actually
to me and
came to you.
asked me. Yeah, they asked me about it. Yeah,
Okay. Interesting. See how small the world is?
yeah, they
All right.
did.
So it's a small world. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
you had no issues with them using it though, as far as what they were doing. It
No, I
wasn't
had
like,
no
oh,
issue with it because at the time I wasn't as business savvy. I mean, I didn't have an LLC or trademark like I do now, but I didn't feel like threatened by it. I was like, oh, fine, you guys want to use that name for whatever you're going to use it for. That's the political movement that you're doing. I wasn't a political movement, so I was like apples and oranges. You know what I mean?
right. Two different moves, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of shocked when you were reading on your live that you guys did a few months back that they were using it as a racial classification. I was shocked by that because, I mean, the urban Indian is a description of a culture that exists in the urban areas. It's not even a racial classification, and we should be tired of being racially classified by this time anyway.
Right. And that was the interesting part because you had brought up the Urban Indian Act, what, 1923?
Yeah, the one 23
Right?
and 37, but yeah,
Can you pull it up, God? The Urban Indian Act for me?
yeah, I think it's the
Just so
one in
people can see it, because maybe some people
1937.
might not know, so we just show people stuff like this,
Yeah,
just for conversation's
it was
sake.
1923, 1937. I think it was one in 1988 where they added a Native American, the Alaskan Native. I think they added them in 88. I'm not sure, but
Word. I think that's interesting because, again, I'm not one to really throw shade at nobody. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like you said, though, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? When they came out with it, I had no issues like, oh, I'm urban. And I got it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
most of us
exactly,
are in urban areas now. You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
Living in these big cities. And
exactly.
we have indigenous heritage. You know what I'm saying? So why not highlight that we are not, we're not the old school, our ancestors, that because we obviously were stripped. Like you said, you knew that you didn't know, or you didn't know until a certain time when you start finding out, going to do research. Before that,
Exactly.
just like everybody else, they going by the label that they gave you, classification that was called African American, which we know isn't a nationality or a designation of a person's tribal background. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
really trace back
exactly.
to something on a
Exactly.
national level.
I didn't. I mean, for me, as I was going back in my genealogy, which I say that's the key, so that way you don't have to even argue with nobody about who you are. Just do your work, right? So, to me, the urban Indian was just a highlight or description of a particular group of people in a particular area. But my racial classification, to me, as I found out more about being, my family being tied to the Powhatan and the Yamasee, I kind of take that as my nationality more so than the word Indian, even though I'm okay with that word too. But I didn't use it for that. It was kind of like to highlight a group of people who live in a certain area and develop the culture because of that area. That's kind of how I
Right.
was looking at it. And I separated Powhatan. I separated my DNA and my genealogy from the actual description of the brand I was using, even though they're tied into each other. But one is a racial classification and one is just a description of a culture, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, it's a description of a people living in an urban area.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And your genealogy though might not be the same as everybody in that urban area. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? With the
Thank you.
Indian heritage. Not
Thank you.
everybody has the same tribal background.
Exactly.
You
So
know what
I
I mean?
can't say urban Powhatan or urban Yamasee or urban Creek. I just said urban Indian because that encompasses all of us together.
Right. I get it. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's unifying. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's a unifying move to make. And it was a unifying move for them to make. For
Exactly.
them want to set up a heritage society to dedicate to help people in the urban areas be able to do what they get and find out who their ancestors are.
I
And
understood the
genealogy,
move they
I don't
made.
have no
Yeah, I
issues with
understood the
none of that.
move. I understood the move.
So I don't want nobody thinking we don't understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
I
again,
understand the move, no doubt.
the urban Indian brand. So do you have? I see you got a jacket on. Look kind of fresh, by the way.
Oh, I
You know what I'm
appreciate
saying?
it.
I mean, I'm paying attention. I'm peeping. I'm like, you trying to hide it or something? What's going on? I see you got the hat on. You know what I'm saying? So if you style it, you know what I mean. You branded, so you might as well let the people know. So what's the intention with the brand? You got jackets and stuff for sale. You got a store. What's popping?
Well, I'm gonna let my lady. I'm gonna let my lady Samantha Phoenix. I'm gonna let her go ahead and drop it because she's way more elegant than me when it comes to that type of stuff, and she back here hiding. So I'm gonna let her.
Oh no, I'm not hiding. Ucha, brother. So it's interesting. Traveling Bear and I met at a time where I was also just digging into my genealogy, just my history. So on my father's side, we are Chata. And so the people from Mississippi in general would have been a part of that tribe. But within the Yamasee Warband or the Cherokee Nations, right? Because those are not necessarily tribes, as we all know. A lot of people down, in that part of the country identify as Choctaw. So my great-great-grandmother was raised in culture, language. We just didn't carry those traditions over after her generation, but I was always knowledgeable, always knew that we were indigenous to America. So I was just searching for more though, right? Because there's one thing to believe something, but to know without a doubt, that's deep. And I was also at the point of having left this, antiquated system of religion. And so tying all that into my cultural identity was a big thing for me personally. It was a very healing experience. And so we met kind of along those lines and merged our visions where we don't want to just talk about the fact that we're indigenous to America. What does that mean from a cultural perspective? Visually, what does that look like? Because everybody has an idea of what indigenous or Native American looks like, even though I feel that's a misnomer.
Yeah.
How can we identify in a way that doesn't tie ourselves to what we call red eagles? Those that you traditionally see on TV, right? The television Indian. Because we're not the same, and that's okay. And there's a big conversation about it. A lot of people are upset that a lot of us are waking up to our cultural identity. And we wanted to create something where we could wear and show, merging our history with our culture and how it still actually is in place. We are the culture. So we don't have to walk around with feathers on. We don't have to walk around in moccasins. We don't have to walk around with war paint. That's not necessarily indigenous, although we did do those things, right? We're still here. And what does that look like? It looks like me and you and him. As we are. And so you'll see different colors represented in the brand. I do design all the pieces myself. We are a limited liability company, legally trademarked. And we just want to put the message out there that we're still here. We haven't gone anywhere. And we dictate the culture. We're not borrowing or taking anyone's culture. We create it wherever we are. So that's kind of the vision behind the brand from a visual perspective. I'll let you go into more so, the other.
I mean, but basically she said everything, but I mean, to top that off, is just that, you know how people say we don't have a culture. I mean, it's amazing because I lived about 10 years in Africa, different countries in Africa. I was there during the Arab Spring, during the wars and everything like that.
He was in the military?
No, I was over there learning Arabic. I was a Muslim at the time.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I went overseas to study Islam and study Arabic, which I speak Arabic fluently. And so I was over there. The Arab Spring started, the war started, lost some family members, a wife, a daughter, and things like that. So when I got back to the States, you're kind of disillusioned with a lot of stuff. So as I started learning who I was, and I hear people say we don't have a culture. And while I'm in Africa and I'm in these places overseas in the Middle Arab countries, African countries, singing is a culture to them. What they eat is a culture to them. What they dress is a culture to them. How they talk is a culture to them. But when I came back to America, people told us we didn't have a culture. I said, well, when people talk slang and walk like hip hop and dress like hip hop and love soul music and soul food and the dancing and the way we dress and talk, if that's culture for everybody else, then why isn't it culture for me?
Right. I agree.
So when I came up with that in my mind, I said, well, what is our culture then? And I started realizing I've been doing this same culture my whole life, getting up in the morning, my mom playing Anita Baker because we about to clean up the house. You know, all this type of stuff is a culture because it's unique to a group of people. And I said, I know we have a culture. So once I realized that, I try to figure out a way to label that culture. I said, well, we're Indians. If we're going to use that term, I said, okay, we're Indians, but I don't live near a mountain anymore. I don't live in the same city we used to live in. I don't live near the Aztec or the Inca or the Mesoamerican pyramids, and I don't live in the Cahokia. I don't have that same connection my ancestors had to that directly like they did. But what I do have is the culture that the remnants of that was left behind. And I think that took the greatness of a people to suffer as we did, to still, after all of that suffering, create a culture from what was left behind and create a whole urban culture still suffering. And that culture is the American culture today. You wouldn't even know what America was without our culture. And I knew it was important to express that. So that's what the clothing line really meant for me. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. And that's all it's about. I think that's still, I think it's it's an honorable thing that you're doing to represent your people and want to be able to have it and have the product. Like you said, I see that jacket, you know what I'm saying? I see you got things popping with that. So,
yeah,
that's what's up. You don't disrespect nobody's ways of doing things. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And I think that should be, it's because it's a part of your culture. I don't get how it should be a problem for somebody that wanted to express themselves in this way. So I just wanted to clarify that with you, just to know, because I like to talk. I don't like to sometimes type and shit all the time. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Facebook get on my nerves now because we got Clubhouse now. I don't even got to really do all that typing.
Yeah.
Share the source and okay, go look at the source. Let's read this source real quick. But still, at the same time of this, you said your background dealing with the Yamasi, right?
Yeah.
And interesting enough, because I know somebody, like you said, it's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But I know, because obviously I know Alpha, I know some other people too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of back and forth about the creed and faith and culture of the Yamasi. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of different groups.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's one particular group for those who in the conscious community, and obviously in the indigenous community, Black Indian community, I would call it sometimes too. Yamasi has been around for a pretty long time as far as being branded for being Black Indians. You know what I'm saying? Just like Washita is a popular name that goes back to the 90s, where people were like in the conscious community, like I'm Washita.
And it's mostly tied into more science most of the time.
Correct. Now, the problem is that, or even the Wapu, Nuwabians, Dr. Malachi Z. York, you know what I'm saying? And because, this where the thin line comes in for me, right, with these things, because of this. A person's creed or science, religion, faith, all these different terms, ecclesiastical ideals of doing things, all right, are not to take away from the person not having indigenous ties to America. But at the same time, I wouldn't, as in today's time, as like an urban Indian, a person in the urban area, and they might have grew up Muslim, like your case, how you can speak it and you have that now, a part of your culture, it's part of you. You did go through it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So at the same time, with people that's in Philly, because you were right, Philly, Muslim, heavy in Philly. You know what I'm saying?
It's heavy.
And then what happens now when the brother?
Shock when I left it, because I was actual imam of a mosque in Philly.
Wow. Right. So you know what I'm saying? Like that's known from back then that Philly's been a very Muslim culture in the Black community. You know what I'm saying?
That's where the beard. That's where the beard comes from. We all grow the beard and stuff like that.
Right. It's like part of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that in the streets know that about Philly?
Yeah, exactly.
Beanie and Seagull and all that.
Freeway with his big old beard.
Freeway and them. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, state property. You know what I mean? Shout out to them. Like they put it in their music. So you knew. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, though, what happens when that man finds out that his grandma had some Indian in her? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You feel me? Or is he supposed to deny his whole faith and not do what he's been doing all his life just because he found he has this indigenous tie to America that he might have thought all his life he was just an African American.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And we can't really. That's where thin line comes in at. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because people are being very like they're being harsh sometimes in what we call the Indian community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think.
Let's go ahead. I'm sorry.
I go ahead and finish your thoughts so that way I can.
No, I just think that people are being very harsh in because of the pan-Indian ideal of things.
Yeah.
They're harsh against people who have these cultural things that are foreign to America. They're not the indigenous cultures of America. Mm-hmm. They're not the indigenous spirituality systems of America. But these people have been raised in these systems, have faith in these systems, and made some of these people better people. You know what I mean? Yeah. And hey, if it worked for their family and they raised good people and they did, you know what I mean? Let it be what it is. Instead of disrespecting somebody, it's more the focus should be on, yo, this is your genealogy though. You know what I'm saying? You can keep that right there for another time. You know that already. This is what you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And let them explore that level and then make their own decision about their creed and faith on their own time. You know what I'm saying?
And people usually do the same thing that happened to me. As I learn more about our spirituality, which I basically call naturalism, this whole natural way of doing things, of living and being and thinking in nature. Once I started getting into that, the health changes, your mind changes, things changes for you. I saw a real change. But I think that when it comes to religion and things like that, for me, just me personally, once I figured out how foreign it was to my ancestors and I saw what happened here with religion and everything else, I knew that I had to back out of it for my own personal reason, because I thought it was disrespecting my ancestors, number one. Number two, I felt as though the things that I personally been through with it, the elevation where I wanted to go spiritually, where I wanted to go as a person, it couldn't take me there. So
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, this can't take me there. And then, you know, personally, I started, once I fell into the Sumerian tablets and started reading that and getting into that, I was like, oh, religion really scared me after that. So, you know, I was kind of like, no, I'm gonna be okay with this. I'm gonna fall back on this. But I think that, you know, when you get into these ecclesiastic things, I think a lot of times people in those mindsets, they think because you're not in institutionalized religion, you're atheist. So they automatically give you the atheist card. Like, you don't believe that there's a divine source or there's the grace. You don't believe in anything because you're not inside of an organized system. You understand what I'm saying? But when they get around you and they find out that, whoa, wait a minute, these people live pretty calm and pretty nice. You know, for whatever reason, people think without religion, you're just going to be an alcoholic, a murderer, a rapist. Like you just going to lose your mind and start killing everything around you. But I think that, you know, our people, when you're teaching them their genealogy, they're learning genealogy, I think that for a lot of people, for myself and others that I've talked to, it does give you a sense of responsibility that you don't have as an African American or as a Black person. Because once you kind of tie yourself to something that's alive and real in your face, you start to feel responsible for it and to take care of it and to be part of it. But when you're into like religions that's so far off and foreign to you, it may help you outwardly, but what does it really connect you to other than a foreigner's system, a foreigner's language, a foreigner's everything? So it kind of takes, it's kind of like standing over here in America with your feet planted, but pointing overseas and saying, look over there, but you're standing right here on gold. So that's just how my take on religion. I don't know if you have your own take on it, of what he was saying, but that's kind of my take on it, you know.
I think he dropped it.
Okay. Well, I mean, just in our conversation again, you know, from the urban Indian standpoint, you know what I mean? And just again, like how because you said you had Powhatan and Yamasi, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can relate, you know what I'm saying? Because I have Yamasi, you know what I mean, as it would say. Or I like to say Macaris, you know what I'm saying? Lineage. And the same understanding of my people coming out of a certain area, the Georgia and the Carolinas and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And because of what, you know, because shout out to Beck, who was just our first guest, he's in Savannah, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And You know what I mean? My people's migrated from out of Georgia and came into Florida. You know what I mean? But however the case might be, some of my people went north, some of them went, you know what I mean? Like everybody else's families.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
went different ways. You know
That
what I mean?
great migration, yeah.
The migration joint, right? So ours migrated south. You know what I mean? So at that point of things taking place, I think people really don't want to take a conclusion that, and now we're in urban areas. If we would now use this unity of having this thing in common that we're finding all out in our areas, that we could be able to reach more people and be able to set a network up that allows us to express ourselves and our cultures, because we could do it now without having to have someone in between us to tell us how to go about telling our story about who we are in our different ways and upbringings and different things that today are the ethnogenesis of, and that word ethnogenesis, by the way, I use it because I've seen it, and I feel like right now technically it's the most technical term I could use that really explains us now in the 21st century and having this understanding of indigenous heritage and then embracing it and now making it now be a part of your life. It's like you're bringing back something that wasn't there to a lot of people because they didn't know it. You know what I mean? And they got so comfortable with the classification of just being Black, Negro, and African American that the indigenous side of them got lost. You know what I'm saying? So now you're picking it back up and you want to rep it, because you feel like it's something you lost. You know what I'm saying? So you want to tap into it and really get to understand that part of your ancestry. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's what you chose to be doing for a time. You know what I mean? So this is that's why I respect everything y'all doing as the brand Urban Indian. I was just let you know. That's why I brought you on the show.
Man, I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate, like I said, for us, man, it's kind of like connecting us back to something. And like I said, I always tell people I don't have all the answers. I'm not the end all be all, but I'm just trying to get a little spark. Like, hey, look, there's a part of us that's missing. Okay, it's here in America. So let's take a look at that. You know what I'm saying? And you might not be able to walk around with a feather crown on, but hey, maybe you can buy a hat, represent who you are. You know what I'm saying? You may not even know everything you know about yourself. You may know a few grandparents. You may know your grandmother said y'all was Cherokee. She said y'all was Black. You may not, just may all you know. But if the spirit is moving, you feel that, then, we have a way of repping that, according to the people that I grew up with and who I grew up around. Like most of us grew up in urban areas. We grew up in the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Oh, I thought about the song real quick. My bad. Tapped in real quick.
Yeah.
Culture wise.
Yeah, we grew up.
No, you're right though. In a crazy, or some people call it the ghetto, but some people just say red lined areas.
Yeah, the reservation,
marooned
the real
areas that weren't being developed. You know what I'm saying? Because of, you know what I mean, free people of color.
Yeah.
That were from those areas for a very, very long time that weren't going nowhere because they're from that area.
Exactly. Where else they was going to go? I mean, once you find out, like I found out about the Carters and the Taylors, down in Virginia and the Carolinas, you know what I'm saying? All these people were, Powhatan, they were Tuscaroran, Catawba, all these people, and once you understand the surnames, you're like, well, wait a minute. I thought I was African. You start to find out, you start going back. I'm back in, what was we in? Was I 1690? I was like 1690, man. One of my ancestors was named Mushaw, which meant in so-called Native American language meant hunter or gatherer, right? These people own land. These people are fighting in wars. I'm like, well, where's the slavery? Well, hold up.
What's happening?
What's going on here? Like I thought we all were slaves, but we got so used and conditioned to the slave movies. I asked one of my aunts, Aunt Marie, in her 70s. I said, well, when did y'all start hearing about Africa? She thought about it for a second and said, when Roots came out. That was the 70s.
That part.
That was the 70s. So before that, they didn't know anything about any of that. So then I'm looking around 1988, we African American. I'm like, well, dang, so, and you start looking for the African, and I just haven't found. I'm not saying none didn't come over. I don't believe that nobody came, but a lot of people came over. They were pale, and if they were dark skinned, they probably came on their own will.
Or some contractual things taking place.
Contract.
And there was some people being exiled, and they couldn't go back over there, but that don't mean that they were like on some slavery thing with the people that came over here with. You know what I'm saying? They just knew they couldn't go back over there. You know what I'm saying?
And I tell people all the time with the Black Europeans, I said every Black European didn't come over here to conquer us. Some came over being exiled, some came over to find work, and they fell in love with an indigenous person.
Yes, it sounded, you know, from a lot of people's genealogy that they're being fair about what they're finding, how the surname that their indigenous people got are coming from that kind of connection, and not from a supposedly white slave master.
Exactly.
It makes you, I think, you might, you know, rethink things about your culture of who you are in America and your ancestry.
No, it does,
because it's a deeper understanding of who you are. Like,
it is a deep understanding, because when I found the Canadian people, they were Black Irish. They were not Black, Scottish people.
Crazy.
So, and they came over and mixed with our people. And I tell people all the time, that doesn't change who I am. My family is indigenous to America, but people came over here and mixed with like everybody do everywhere else in the world. It's just what it is.
Lord, clap your hands, y'all.
It's just what it is, man.
Clap your hands, y'all. God damn it. That's what I'm talking about. See, and it's not going to change you from repping urban Indian just because you got Scottish heritage in your lineage. Like,
it doesn't matter.
It's out of control.
I found a French guy, maybe a couple of generations back, maybe in the 1700s, down in New Orleans. Some of my family was down there. He mixed into the bloodline. So that's why I understand why my mom's, her side have more light-skinned people than the other side of my family. We're more my complexion. So, but now I understand why my mom's dad and them are lighter than us, because they had some pale Frenchmen mixed in down there in the South with them. That doesn't make me a Frenchman.
Right. That part. You know, you might have a surname that can show that they were there.
Exactly.
A surname that's showing some link to that people that plugged in, but that don't change who they plugged into.
Exactly. Either way, either bloodline that you talk about, if they wasn't slaves, that's for sure.
That's facts. Nothing but factual things.
It wasn't slaves.
That's facts. So now, you know, and that's why we got to get out of this trauma bonding ideal of just everybody was in the same narrative. Now, if that's what your people went through, for those that did come over as Africans, that there was a situation, the situations did take place, yes, but not on the scale that we, you know, and if those who have the genealogies of it, you know what I mean? Hey, I'm sorry for, you know what I mean? Woo, you know what I'm saying? Damn,
I'm sorry for what
like,
happened.
The fuck, you know what I mean? You mixed into the culture today we call Black America. It's almost likely by the time now in 21st century, you done had a child with an indigenous person. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Of this
those
land.
bloodlines don't even exist. Most of those bloodlines have been wiped out through constant re-entering with indigenous people.
Mixing, right. Mixing
in with indigenous people, because you got to figure, right, if what's the guy named Walter Plecker back in the 20s, if he said 80 to 89% of us were American Negro was tied into indigenous clans, that means that the majority of the blood that's here is indigenous. That means anybody that's coming in after a few generations, they're Indian at that point.
The Indian Negro. That's what they call
Indian Negro.
Or the Negro Indian. I said it backwards. You know what I'm saying? That's how they said it. You know what I'm saying?
And one of the reasons that makes us so unique as a people, because of some of the mixture, that's why our music sounds like it sounds. Everything that we do is so uniquely us because of some of the mixture that came in. We took all of that mixture and created our own culture with all of that mixture.
And some people might call that Creole. You feel me? Type of thing. You know what I mean? Like a gumbo. Like in Louisiana, they would call them people Creoles that had that mixture. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's interesting. Like we don't call it that. Like in Haiti, they got Creole and Patois, Jamaica, but still it's really a Creole. You know what I mean? It's a mixture of languages that make up their language base. So it's like we got different versions of what we call Creole, and now, you know, because of our urban swagger, you feel me? We say Ebonics. You feel me?
Exactly.
Which really technically is a Creole, because in my Ebonics in Florida, in Philly ain't the same shit. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't.
You feel me? And I can't go to Louisiana and say certain things to them on a general level that they would say to their people. You know what I mean? We don't say the same things right now in the country right now. Our state, our city, from city sometimes. Like, it's ridiculous that we have this. Come on, man, right now. You know what I mean? And we understand it. It's based off of English, right? That's how we can communicate on a universal level across the states, but we know when we off screen like this and we in the city or your peoples, you say certain things that you went somewhere else. It's not what your people speak like. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's just
It's so
I think
beautiful
that's
about our
naturally
people,
understood.
though. I can come to Florida with my northern accent, and I can be down there talking about some, hey yo, where the boy at, or what's up with this joint. You may know that's a Philly slang, but you can follow my slang though.
Right.
Meaning,
I
even
know what
though
you're kind of
it's a
saying.
different dialect, you can feel the meaning behind what I'm saying. Even if you never heard the word before, because we both indigenous, we lock into each other's dialects.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in Georgia and I was down there and I was talking, they always thought I was trying to argue with them. I used to be cracking. They always thought I was trying to argue because of my accent.
You aggressive, huh? You aggressive talking.
But when I used to hear them talk, some words I didn't know what the word was, but I could follow the conversation because we all came from the same place.
Right. That's real though. I got them my own cousins. You know what I'm saying? Cousins. We in different areas, and we talk foreign to each other, but we understand what we're saying. Like it's okay. Yeah, I got you. I know what you're talking about. I got you.
And that's the urban Indian culture that exists that nobody wants to say exists. Everybody in the world, because if you didn't have a culture, then I'm trying to figure out what everybody's trying to imitate around the world. Because when I was in Egypt, a guy on a donkey, I'm by the Nile River. This is like 2012 or 11 or something like this. So I'm in the middle going down the Nile River. This guy on a donkey with a Wu-Tang t-shirt on. Talking about something, what's up, my nigga? Some Arab young boy, you know what I'm saying? So, but he, if he didn't know what the word, he didn't know the meaning that if he'd have said that in America, somebody might have popped him, right? But but dude was talking about Biggie, asked me that I know Biggie Smalls. The point I'm making is that our culture is everywhere. America, when I was overseas, everybody wanted to know about us, but they also was afraid of me because they thought I was violent and a criminal.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? But everybody looked at our culture as America. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk. It's American. Ain't no
they,
African culture.
No, like, nobody imitate them.
And everybody knows that. Even the African knows it's not their culture. Shit, it's American culture. It's us. You know what I mean? What you talking about? What you mean? Y'all imitate our shit. I hate to say it like that, but y'all America, Black America, they call it. Well, it's not no African culture.
That's real.
Shit, what you mean?
I mean, Akon keep trying to tell people to go back to Ghana, but he had to come to Ghana to make money. He had to come to America to get rich.
Right, to make his name.
To make a name for himself.
And talking about I got locked up, like us American Negroes.
That's what I'm saying. So, you got
the Urban Act. Okay, go ahead.
So, that's just basically it. But to make it, clear, like your first thing you had mentioned, the Urban Indian brand, we have no affiliation with the actual Urban Indian heritage. You know what I'm saying? We have no affiliation. Now, I do know some of the people that's affiliated with that. I have no, personal issue with any of them. I know, some of them personally. I've met them and things like that. But as far as my brand being connected to it in any way, as far as business or ideology, anything like that, because one of our statements is identity over ideology. So, I always take my identity. What does my identity mean for me personally? And I'm always going to take that over some ideology, whether it's religion, politics, and things like that. Not unless that quote unquote political move is actually benefiting my people as a whole. And if it's not, then I'll leave it alone.
Real talk. See, I look at it like if we really network like how we having this conversation now, we come and just like how if we had left out what we also have in common as far as the Indian heritage, you know what I'm saying, that's running through our veins. You feel me? That also at the same time, we also still different as far as like you just said, but we still have things that we make us different uniquely, just off of where we raised at in our urban areas. You know what I'm saying? But we still, like you said, can follow each other and also network with each other. And I think obviously when we get past that, you know what I'm saying, that is really what we are really trying to accomplish. But unifying in a manner of our urban areas today and being able to get more autonomy for our people. in the manners of being who we are.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I think one of the things that's hurting us, brother Mac, is that, you know, at least growing up in Philly, I can't put this anywhere else, but, you know, where I grew up at is that, you know, we have a lot of problems with isms and ideologies in Philadelphia.
Right.
We got the Muslims, the Hebrew Israelites, the Black Christians. We got all these different movements that are ecclesiastic and religious, right? And
Right.
I mean, they haven't done anything in our community except cause division and strife. But you know, we can as a people. I went to Chinatown one day when I was in Philly. I was back home in Philly. I live outside DC now, but I was back home in Philly, and I took a walk through Chinatown. So you hear the name Chinatown, you thinking everybody down there is Chinese, right? But come to find out, there's different types of quote unquote Asian people. So there are Malaysians, Indonesians who are Muslims. That their countries are basically Islamic countries. Then you have the Koreans and yada, yada, yada. I think like 65% of the whole Chinatown in Philly is actual Chinese people, right?
Right.
But everybody else is from a different part of Asia. And I'm bringing that up because they all have different concepts and ideologies, all of them, right? But at the same time, they vote together. You know what I mean? And I'm not advocating voting because, you know, I'm not advocating it, but I'm just making a point. They vote together. They do everything culturally together. You never see them fight each other. Like you never see them. Indonesian is not going to not work with a Korean because he's not Muslim. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to not mess with a Christian who's a Chinese because he's Christian. They're going to look at each other all as Asian when they have to. And I think because they have some type of racial integrity. You know what I'm saying? And if you have racial integrity, it doesn't matter. These cats done lost their mind. But if you have some type of racial integrity, and that's one of the reasons that, you know, also I created the Urban Indian Lines, because to try to unify some racial integrity. Because if you have racial integrity, it doesn't matter if you're a Muslim and I'm not, because we're going to see each other both as indigenous. I might be Powhatan, you might be Creek, you might be Seminole, but reality is that right now we're all indigenous, because that whole thing that we're tribal and we had that fell in the 1800s. So how do we rebuild that? Because I can't walk around and say I'm Powhatan, so I'm gonna find every Powhatan I can. I'm only going to deal with them. That's not even reality. So the whole brand was like, all right, we're all indigenous, we're all Indians, we're all this, we're all whatever terminology we use, Aboriginal, the brothers, I know you brothers use maroon, all of that is synonymous, right? And it all takes its different meanings depending on the historical context to it, right? But what we do know, we all indigenous. That we do know. So
that's
we all
a fact.
here. So my whole thing is, how do we get some type of racial integrity? How do I see Mac Ether and the brothers at Autonomous Party? When I see them, I just don't see Autonomous Party. I see indigenous brothers. I don't see he may say I'm maroon. I say, oh well, I'm Indian. But that's all synonymous. Because we get caught up in terminologies, we're never going to have no racial integrity. So so to me, that all means the same. Somebody say I'm Aboriginal or I'm this, I'm that. I don't even argue.
I ain't got a problem. Right, ain't no pressure.
Ain't no, somebody may say they Hebrew. I get why they say that. I get it. You say, oh, in 7 AD, Israelite tribes came to America. People say, oh, you had the brother Lee Cummins when I listened to those videos. I get why people say that. And I don't even argue with them. That's a terminology they use to give themselves. I'm good with that. At the end of the day, we're all indigenous. We're all Indians. How do we get in racial integrity enough to work like how Chinatown is working?
I like how you landed there. And
that's what I'm saying.
That's what we about right there. That's exactly what the Autonomous Party, as a party of indigenous people, you know what I'm saying, is about. How can we get like the Chinatown? How can we restore, even people want to go back to the tribes, but what about the Black Wall Streets that we had prior? Which means this is before, you know, we came after all the tribal stuff. We had
not that long ago either.
Not long ago. You know what I mean? Like if we can get back to that power structure, you know what I mean? That's our Chinatowns. You know what I mean? Just to keep it honest. And if we could get it in understanding that we're gonna not let that land and them properties go. We're gonna be able to understand now with technology and obviously the education that we have now, that we can facilitate these things. You know what I mean? We have doctors, we have lawyers, we have nurses and all that stuff that you need, firemen and police officers to run your own district. You know what I'm saying? Like Chinatown. You know what I mean? On your own motive of being able to do it. So I feel that's really what it is.
No, what I was, what I was trying to ask my wife to explain is that because sometimes I think when we think about like urban Indians, the first thing that comes to people's minds sometimes, because I was looking at some of my, they have the schematics on Instagram, and you look at who's following you, who likes the things and stuff, and it was like 60-something% men, right? So, and one of the things that came to my mind is that when we do think of urban, the first thing coming to our mind is the young boy standing on the corner. We think of the dude with his hat twisted around, and we think of the masculine energy that exists in the hood. We don't think about the struggle or the reality of the Indian or the urban Indian that's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll let my wife land on that, but how important it is for women for that to be understood, like as far as that culture to be understood, that there is the urban Indian just doesn't mean the brother that's getting locked up by the police. You know what I mean? It's a whole other side to it. So
I mean, no doubt. And it's interesting you use that as an example. I mean, I was not too long ago put in the back of a police van. I'm suited up for work, looking professional, business cards in hand. And I was driving through Ohio, heading up to Pittsburgh for work, and got pulled over. Of course, you know how the story goes. Searched up, felt up. That experience didn't invalidate my indigenousness, even as a woman. And I think a lot of what we try to cover on our platform as well, we have a podcast called Uncomfortable Conversations, where we cover topics that affect us, spiritually and emotionally, just as a unit, as a family. There's a lot of toxicity around our relationship dynamics and, how we talk about that online. So we just want to bring also that healing aspect to it for our men, women, and children. And that's so important for us to see that unit intact and healthy. And we try to show that so that our men and our women get a flavor for how can we heal culturally as a collective. Like, that's a very deep thing. And I think what we're finding, unfortunately, as women within the indigenous community, it's a little scary out here. There's some men out here that have, not always upheld or done the right thing.
Yeah.
And we're running through a lot of that nonsense, and we're having to make clear distinctions between us and other groups of people. Unfortunately, because again, culturally, that's what happens. We're always looking for the next savior. And I think that's dangerous. So if we move collectively, if we have one message and one mind, it's going to be easier to get things done. But some of us are scared away. There's a lot of people putting themselves in positions that nobody necessarily
like the last situation I was in. Like the last
situation,
horrible. It was a horrible situation. I just couldn't stand it. I'm just not going to allow for somebody to be a so-called messiah and then mistreat the women. It's just not going to. I've come too far for that as a man to find that out and to allow that. It was just like, nah. And then you start to see some of the ecclesiastical beliefs. You start to find out that somebody's trying to create a cult around this information. And that's frightening, especially for women. And that's kind of what happened. That's kind of situation that me and Alpha found ourselves in, and things like that. And Alpha would let me learn on my own. I respect how the brother did it. Alpha, he kind of he knew that I was going to figure it out. So he didn't bash anybody. He let me figure it out on my own. And when I finally came to him with the information, it was like, I knew he was going to figure it out. But it's a lot of people out here right now in the indigenous or aboriginal community that's really scamming the people, man. It's not sincere. And I'm just trying to be indigenous. I'm trying to learn who I am. I know it's bits and pieces that I probably will never know. And I'm sure I don't have all the answers. I'm trying to piece together a smashed and hidden history like everybody else. But I just don't want to get scammed. I don't want to get cheated. And we just got to not, like, we can't do that. And we should have the right to speak up and to expose that if it's happening. And, and we got to do that because we got to, like people say now, this is not the Pisces age, it's the Aquarian age. We're not with no messiahs no more. You know what I mean? We're not following men no more. We're not following behind names no more. We want to be who we want to be, but I'm not trying to hear nothing about going to outer space. I'm not trying to hear nothing about none of that. I'm walking on the ground right now. How do I survive where I am? And if you keep telling me to look at the sun and look at the moon, I'm missing out on trying to create what I need to create here. And at the same time, have those beliefs if you have them and be able to live in that. But nobody's giving me answers how to fix my condition here. And that's a problem for me.
I understand that.
Yeah,
And that's a problem for a lot of people, I think. That
That's
they
what
want
I'm
to go
saying.
around romanticizing about, like you said, all the other stuff besides the solutions that's going to allow us, like you said, to have our own autonomy and not have to be in these situations. And that's the message that should be overall pushed amongst us as indigenous people living in America. That now that you know that you're indigenous to America, you have every right to want to be autonomous in the land that you're indigenous to. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And if other people could come here from other places, foreigners, and do it, then why can't you? So no excuses at this point once you wake up to this part, right? You see, some people wake up to the indigenous part and they want to go back to sleep on and fall back into their faith realm because of whatever reason. But like you said, we're in a new era. So, faith without work is dead, especially in this era.
The Bible say that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said it like that. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you have to know how to understand the parables of what you base yourself off of. Because, like I said, faith without work is dead. You know what I mean? And that's a real statement in whatever you do. Even setting up an autonomous town like a Chinatown type situation.
Exactly.
But foreigners have done it, right? Foreigners came to this land and have done it.
Yep.
So now, what excuse do we have?
For sure.
We say, reparations. Some people say, we're going to get it. Well, are we really? Is there a plan in manner for those who are going that route to try to get repaired by the government to be able to take the funds and set up these urban Indian centers that are going to allow people to thrive for the next 100 years, as long as everybody plays their part within that situation? Like, is it set up in a lineage-based 7-year plan, at least 7-generation plan, understanding of what you're doing when you are supplanting to get reparations? You know what I mean?
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Not just right now, the moment, give me 5 million, gets 5 million inflated in the next 5-10 years, ain't gonna be what 5 million is now. You know what I'm saying? The value of what it's gonna cost to live. So you need things that's gonna be sustainable autonomously, that you know what I mean, tangible shit in the urban areas that's gonna allow you to survive. You know what I mean?
And that's
really
part
just real talk.
And see, for me, if an institution like I said, one of the shocks in Philly is I was an imam, and for me to go against religion like I did, it shocked everybody because, they like, this is an imam, this is a person that's been Muslim 20 years. But my whole thing was, besides the theological stuff I didn't agree with, I just didn't see it working. And for me, if I buy a vacuum cleaner from Walmart and I take it home and it tell me on the commercial and in the instructions that it clean up all types of dirt, and I go to use it and it ain't removing any of it, I'm taking this vacuum cleaner back. But the problem is we get emotionally attached to something, even though it's not working. I'm saying is that we got to grow up and start being responsible. And crying and begging and pleading to gods and stuff like that, that's not being responsible as men and women. I'm saying that we see our children suffering. We see what's happening in the hood. I see all these big churches, these big mosques in my neighborhoods, but my neighbor's still crazy. Philadelphia averaging 600 murders a year. They got a 40% poverty level. They got like 70, 80,000 bullet casings in the police station from bullet shootouts. So for me, if you're telling me you're here to give me something as a savior, I'm looking around at my environment, I'm saying that's not working. I don't have to argue with you about your theology and none of that. I don't agree, but what I clearly see is it's not working for my people. We need to figure out what works. I don't have all the answers at all. I'm not saying that I'm not a mastermind, but what I do know, I see a problem that needs a solution.
I can agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? So, but if you don't have no racial integrity, Brother Mac, you do that. If you don't have no racial, I've seen guys who are religious, like even me when I was a Muslim, I look at my own people as infidels and and they're going to hell. And if you have this concept of a people you think you're here to help, you're never going to fully commit to helping them. You can't, because you've already been taught to have a certain way of looking at them. And you don't have no racial integrity because you still think you Black African American. So you take on whatever. Now today you're Arab, tomorrow you this, tomorrow you're that. And that's a sign of some type of mental confusion. So for me, until we get out of the mental confusion and get into this one singular mindset of a racial integrity, I don't care what faith you practice, that stuff don't matter to me. Are you indigenous to America? You melanated, you've been classified as a Negro, colored, Black, African American. How can we help you? I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you got on. We got to pull ourselves out of this mess, man. And arguing over somebody's foreign ideology ain't going to get it.
I agree.
It ain't going to get it. It's
I agree.
Going to get it, man. I got friends right now, who I've been friends with for a long time. Some of these guys I done sold dope with back in the day. I ran the streets in Philly with. Some of these guys I met as I was a Muslim, 10, 15, 20, 25 years with people. They won't talk to me because I'm not a Muslim anymore. Just the type of stuff that our people do. But if you look at other races, and I go around them just for that reason, they don't do that. They have a racial integrity. That's all I'm saying. I don't care if you stand next to me with your stuff on, with your kufi and your thobe on. I don't care if you got your niqab on, your veil on. I don't care if you got your feathers on. If you know that you are indigenous to America and you want to help your people, I don't see none of that, bro. I just want to, how can we help us get out the mess we in? Because the damn sure ain't working voting, asking Biden and them, that ain't working. Giving the church our money ain't working. Giving the mosque our money ain't working. So we got to figure out what works.
That's real. That's real. Everything you said was 100. I don't got nothing. Do you disagree with the guy? What he's saying right now? I think we. You know what I'm saying? I think you're on point, man, brother. I think you're on point, man. Do you have a website before we get out of here tonight, man?
Yeah.
You know?
Got the website on.
Yes, we are. Excuse me. TheUrbanIndian.org, not .com. TheUrbanIndian.org. You'll find links to just, both of our bios on there. There's also a store connected within the website. So check out some of the merch, which you see him wearing. We're coming up with a lot of new fly stuff for the summer too. So we're very excited, getting out there, putting the message out there. I think, that tagline that you'll see under the logo, identity before ideology, is kind of the big, branding point for us, is how can we come together as a people and put aside those ideologies and religious systems and different belief systems and still hold that if that works for you. But at the end of the day, what is it that brings us together? So that's kind of where you'll see that tagline represented. But again, theurbanindian.org, you can check us out on there. We're also on Instagram, obviously.
We're going to pull you up. We're going to pull up the website. We want people to see it real quick. Pull up.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, why not? You the guest. It's y'all brand. You got to let people see the
support, man.
Ain't no pressure, man. It's like I said, we're not in a competition. You feel me?
Exactly.
There's plenty of, we're supposed to be networking. So that's what we do. Boom. That's that jacket right there you got on, huh?
That's the one. That's the back. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Word. Okay. Boom.
Yep. Just something simple. We just try. We want to make a statement. It's not necessarily, wanting to sell clothes, but we want to give people something to look at and ask. Like walking down the street, people literally stare at this.
And then you asking me questions all the time. What does that mean? Like, what urban Indian? What's that?
That's hot.
Yeah.
I like this. This is hot. You know what I'm saying? It's urban, got the urban feel to it.
Stuff for Duba.
Yeah, I got that name from Alpha Wolf, man.
Shout out to Alpha.
Yeah.
But hey, man, this whole experience though, it's cool that you guys are branding yourselves, like I said.
Yeah.
And, doing it with the intentions that you do have. So I'm always going to get no pun intended to certain individuals. Give a shout out to you, Phoenix Rizing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not being particular about certain Phoenixes. You know what I'm saying? But I got respect for you, Phoenix Rising. You feel me?
Yeah.
No doubt.
I forgot to mention too, real quick, he has a book coming out.
Oh, yeah, I have a book coming out called The Journey of the Urban Indian. We're doing the editing now. She's actually doing the editing. But it's about my journey from finding out I was indigenous down in Georgia when I was first listening to people like Dane Calloway and stuff like that, when I first Caramayo and things like that. And so it kind of starts there, and it goes into the book is kind of set up like the Wizard of Oz, where I kind of meditating. I don't know that at first, but anyway, it's the journey of my soul through each part of my life from childhood up until now, how to get rid of that baggage, and found out that I'm Indian to move on with my life. So the book is called The Journey of an Urban Indian. So it's kind of set up like the Wizard of Oz, but each part of the book is going into a certain part of my life that I had to clean up, you know?
That's what's up, man.
Mhm.
Hey, being creative, putting the storylines out there. As Back just said earlier, the first guest, we got to put our stories out and all the different variations that you can put them.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know we're kind of over time, but just this work is so important to tell the story from our man's perspective, right? Culturally, we want to see men tap into that emotional body and really elevate spiritually and really heal. And a lot of what we talk about on Uncomfortable Conversations, a lot of what we post about centers around that healing dynamic for our men, because we need y'all so bad to be in integrity and to be upright and help us hold ourselves accountable as women so that we can all kind of meet in the middle. And that book is deep. It really takes you through that journey of healing from the man's perspective within the indigenous culture and community. So it's not just the book, it's not just a shirt. When you see us, it's not just that.
I cried a lot writing that book too. I ain't ashamed to say.
You put your heart into it. You put your heart in anything, it's gonna be tears, joy, and pain.
Yeah, I know that's right, man. But also we're on Instagram. I am the Urban Indian on Instagram, and you also go I am Traveling Bear or I am Phoenix Rising. Either one of them three, you'll have the link of the bio to the store in one of those 3 pages as well.
That's what's up, man. Again, I thank y'all for joining us tonight.
Man, we appreciate it, man. I love the vibe, man. I love the music in the beginning, man. The DJ, he got it. I couldn't stop, man. I had to get the shoulders going. And hey, I saw you too, man.
Yeah, I got to get revved up. Shout out to Blaze.
Yeah,
I got to get revved up before I get into these bills sometimes. Because like we said, we in urban, and I come from an urban, so yeah, my intent still, but I got to give it to you my way. I ain't going to,
listen,
you know what I mean?
I grew up in Philly my whole life. You throwing some soul, some Stephanie Mills, some Teddy P. I'm gonna start jamming. I'm tell you that right now, man.
Okay. Don't forget, tap in. See, that's all you gotta do is put your request in. Blaze know what it is. Okay, yeah. You think we don't know? We got all that.
On there, man. But
get out of here. Thank you,
man. We really appreciate it. I hope we can collab another time, man. And I support what you guys do. I love what you're doing, man. You're just talking about history. The way you guys broaden history out is really helpful for our people, because it kind of kills the pan-Indian thing as well, which I don't agree with as well. So this whole thing that every melanated person in America is indigenous. Yeah, the majority of us are, but there are some people who are foreigners that look like me. And we need to accept that, and some of them mixed in with us, and that's okay as well. So, and that is what it is.
Right. That's real. I think that's how we got to keep it. And that's why I can keep it on it. That's what it is on me too. I have to have that Scottish side, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no
Scottish
doubt.
name, you know what I mean? It goes back.
It is, man.
But still, you know, it's crazy.
I'm still copper colored. I'm still indigenous to America. So what that somebody married into my family? So what? All right. Some of us married into theirs over there.
Shit. There's a lot of mixing.
Yes, a lot of mixing. It's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. I mean, shoot, we can go back. We want to go back. We can go all the way back to when the Hoshin and all them came over and mixed with the Olmec and made the Mayan and all of that. I mean, come on.
Hey, as I said, man, people get caught up in the wrong things.
They
21st century, though. We in our urban areas. Shout out to the urban Indians. We're gonna tap back into you guys when that book's ready. You can pull back up on us. You know what I mean? We could do a little book review. Like, you know, you fall in that lane like Negro questions, leave comments. When people drop books, we like you said, we need more people in our community that got books and stuff like that. And we want to bring you on and tell us about the book and be the first one to kind of have that review with you on it and do that kind of vibe, you know?
Before I jump off, indigenous people in America, which is the majority of you so-called African Americans, you're a prisoner in your own land. You're a prisoner of war. And the first prison is your mind. Free your mind, you'll start to realize you're in a prison and break free. But you're not a descendant of slaves. You're a descendant of prisoners of war. So or you're descendants of people who just robbed out of their birthright. So, but most of you wasn't on the, most of y'all can't even, I haven't even found a slave yet, man. I'm back like 300 years, ain't found one slave yet. So I'm not saying that it didn't exist. I'm not saying that some of us don't got slaves in their family. She has one of her grandparents that was a slave. But at the end of the day, majority of her family was free. It's this idea that because you may find one slave in your family, like this one guy I know, he did his genealogy, he found this guy called the African who was a slave, but the majority of his bloodline was Indian. So what, he gonna be an African American now? I mean, it just doesn't add up.
Hey, let it be what it is, though, man. People got to do their genealogy. That's all.
It just is what it is, man.
You know what I mean? Leave it at that. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Shout
it.
out to Opie Mija.
That's what I'm saying. So I told one guy, he was talking about, I said, listen, the Mali came over. When the Mali came over, who do you think they mixed with when they got here? They mixed with us. So I'm not an African American. I'm not saying I'm African, but I'm not going to deny the fact that somebody made from Africa came over here and mixed with our people. I'm not going to deny that.
Me either. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
What's wrong with these people?
I don't know, man. They want to argue over everything instead of just fixing our lives and fixing our communities. They want to argue over Aboriginal or you Indian or using Aboriginal. Okay, keep arguing over terminology that's English anyway. I'm gonna be over here trying to build.
Real talk. Peace, man.
Peace,
Till
bro.
next time.
I love, man. I really appreciate coming on. Thank you.
You too, sister. Rizing, Phoenix, Rizing.
Thank you,
man.
Too. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Till next time.
All right, till next time.
Blaze. Man, I appreciate everybody that pulled up on us tonight, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, next week, I'm gonna wait to tell you some things, still situating, certain lining up some stuff. But yeah, man, we thank y'all for joining us each and every Sunday right here, 8 to 11 o'clock, Music Media Lounge live. For the campaign, the heart's reality is live life autonomously. You know what I mean? That's the campaign. You know what I mean? Support the party, the autonomous party, for the same reason, if you align with that. But thank y'all once again. Until next time. Peace. Blaze.
Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, 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 na. Good vibration, yeah. That's the positive vibes and we creating, yeah. Sounds that make you feel right, we keep it blazing, yeah. Forever shining this light, we keep it blazing, yeah. Boy, forever shining this light. Hey, thank the Lord, my cup is full and running over. All who never like we, I got love we know. Baby girl just text me, say she coming home, yeah. And when she reach it, want me fit turn off the phone. Turn the lights down low, turn up the stereo, yeah. Alton Ellis, Gregory Eyes at Dennis Brown. Have you ever been in love? No bad vibes can't stop this good vibration, yeah. That's the positive vibes we keep creating, yeah. Sounds that make you feel right, we keep it blazing, yeah. As long as we live in this life, we keep it blazing, yeah. As long as we live in this life, yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with melodies that touch your soul, no. They're acting like the people don't need it no more. Still when she hear that good music, she hold me closer. She groovy now, I know she feeling it for sure. She moved to me and rest her head up on my shoulder. Soothingly she tell me if you turn up the sound. Have you ever been in love? No bad vibes can't stop this good vibration, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the positive vibes and we creating, yeah. Sounds that make you feel right, we keep it blazing, yeah. Forever shining this light, we keep it blazing, blazing. Forever shining this light, ooh yeah.